Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy, Austin Ward. My good buddy, Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lesmeries joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Friday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. Paul Finebaum going to drop by at 10:30. What we learned this week at 11 o'clock and 11:30, as is customary, we'll have a little visit with our good buddy Doug Lesmerice. In between now and then, you'll hear from Ryan Day on some of the pressures that were surrounding this team heading into the playoff, and a pretty wide-ranging interview that RD did. So we'll get to that coming up around 9:30. The idea of signing a quarterback and keeping a quarterback happy. They'll try to do that at Ohio State this year. We'll get into that coming up at 10 o'clock. I did want to start here. I told this story when it happened. This was a couple of years ago when Bootsy was doing his first communion. Actually, it might have been last year. And my dad and youngest brother drove out from Montana for the event. Actually, it might have been Beamsy, so it might have been 3 years ago. And with them, they brought my baseball, basketball, football cards. Now, these are the ones that everybody my age kept. We all kept them. And why did we keep them? Because our dads all told us that they had Mickey Mantle. Every single dad said they had it. And by the way, they didn't. They didn't. But every single one of them said that they had Mickey Mantle. Every single one of them said that their mom threw him away.
It was in a grocery sack, and it got tossed.
Everybody had it.
I can't believe Mom did that.
Did your dad have his cards?
No. Grandma threw them away.
Reese?
No, threw them away.
No. Yeah, of course. Nobody had them. Grandma threw them away. That's the story here 1,000 times. So guess what all of us did? We kept them. And guess what that means? They're not worth anything. But I didn't know that at the time. So NBC was kind of just starting to get into it. So we started going through them. And he almost pitied me. He was almost like, "Man, Dad, I'm sorry. I really thought that Bo Jackson rookie card would be worth something. I'm really sorry that Deion Sanders not worth something either. Like, none of these are worth it. It's nothing. It's like $6. Wait a second. You're telling me the Ken Griffey Jr. upper deck is worth $60? That's what it was worth when I was in the 8th grade. It's worth the same? So that was a little lesson to me. And then there were more examples. So, for example, we had my wife's sister, youngest sister, had an enormous collection of Beanie Babies. And what were they told about Beanie Babies? Save them. There's a Princess Di one, and there's one that looks like a lobster, and one that looks like this. So we have had this box, and I don't know how we ended up being like the storage facility for all things that people thought were worth things, but there's more to that even still. So we get these Beanie Babies out, and the boys are like all jacked up. Let's see if these are worth anything. Well, guess what? They're worth nothing. They're worth like $8. They're not worth anything. People stopped collecting them. So she's got them all. She got all these ones. And then if you have like some error ones, apparently there's some value to them, but it's very minimal and honestly, quite frankly, not worth the time. Okay, but there was one more thing. So my wife's dad had an extensive coin collection from the time he was a kid. So he had a briefcase that he gave to the boys probably 4 or 5 years ago that had a lock on it. And so NBC, because of course, remember, he made big money on selling his brother's cards, but now he doesn't have a commodity anymore. So he's basically just ransacking the house looking for things to sell. That's kind of his operation now. So he comes across the briefcase last night. I tell him, I was like, "Dude, I don't want to deal with this right now. Like, I'm not going to look for this key. I'm not doing it right now." So 10 minutes later, my wife calls me downstairs, and NBC has attempted to rip the locked briefcase open. Like, this is how little patience he has in life. So he tries to rip it open. So then I get mad at him, "Go to your room." So now I'm like, well, it's ripped. Like, I guess that we can look into this and see what's going on. So I'm looking for the key, can't find it. So inevitably, I take a knife and I cut the thing open and I see all of these coins. Now, there are like and this is the name of the coin. There are like Indian pennies that he has from like the 1870s. So there's stuff like that. There are uncirculated sets from the 20s and 30s. There are silver dollars dating to 1889, 1883, all sorts of stuff. So I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe we have some. I mean, at the very least, it's worth what it's worth. 1 penny and $1. At the very least, it's worth that. So the minimum entrance into this. But it's a pretty extensive collection. I mean, in some instances, entire years, every single coin uncirculated in those years. So I'm thinking, well, maybe this will be something here. I mean, certainly these coins from the 1860s and 70s, there's got to be some value in these. So I start going, I'm like, well, how do you know if rare coins are worth anything? So I get my laptop out, and NBC's sitting there with me, and we start like Googling these things. They're not worth anything. Minimally. I mean, they're worth what they're worth. But I guess their thinking was that he thought that he was going to be, this was, the lottery, that this was going to be thousands of dollars. No, a couple $100 is kind of like the high end of it, is really the and then you say to yourself, you put yourself in the position of my wife's father, and you say, imagine him, because he curated this unbelievably. Like there's these little cardboard books that have them all kind of in the year and the specificity. I mean, it's a really unbelievably curated collection for a little kid who was doing it at that time. And I think about the amount of care he took to hold on to this stuff, collect it, much like I did with my cards. And now here he is. He's a man in his 70s, and there was probably the hope that this would be some sort of a payoff at some point. It's a couple $100. Like, is anything worth anything anymore? Is anything collectible anymore? Is nostalgia gone? It might be.
I think there's still a market for nostalgia, but I don't think in those instances there's this I'm going to retire off of that we thought so long ago. Like with so many of those Beanie Babies. I remember when they started to sell with Beanie Babies the little like tag protectors. Like, oh, you're gonna want to protect the tag on these things because your platypus is gonna be worth $7,000 one day. And spoiler alert, it's not worth that. But like the Princess Diana one being the only one that's worth it. I do wonder if you tell him that a 13-year-old took a knife to this briefcase after all of the years spent curating it and taking care of it, and in one fell swoop, a child with a knife ripped it all open.
Who has no patience.
Doesn't care at all about it, about the time and care you took on this thing. No. I guess what you could do is say, all right, you find a place for this and see if he sells it and say, we'll split it like a third, because you probably got to give something back to your dad for that.
Yeah, I guess if he, I'm sure that he would. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like, needless to say, NBC, it was go to your room. Like, I just kindly leave. What are you doing? Like, leave. That's all I thought too, Reese. I'm like, you imagine like all of the places this briefcase has been locked for 60 years.
Yeah.
Right? And then you decide to rip it open because you're a punk.
Bo, I had some older coins like that had been passed down through the years, and this was probably 7 or 8 years ago. I took them to a coin shop.
Yeah.
And I probably got you probably could have got about $700 out of them. And most of it was because at the time, silver was really high and there were some real silver coins. Yeah. So that's where you got the money there. And the coins, usually where you get them is the ones that are super rare or if there's a defect. Like the defect coins you can get a lot of. We're about the same age. So I remember, I don't know if you were like this, I remember getting starting lineups when I was younger.
Yeah,
and
I got
thinking,
a Magic Johnson one right
maybe
there.
those. I have a Magic Johnson one somewhere too. Remember thinking those might be worth something and keeping some of them in their packaging. And it's like, nah, they're not going to be worth anything. It's okay.
But I think those are. My brother had Jordan. I had Magic. And the problem with that is, though, and we had several of the NFL ones too. The problem with it was you wanted to play with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, what the hell was the point in getting them to then just leave them in a package?
If Dexter Manley couldn't sack Bernie Kosar, what was the point?
What are we doing here, man?
That's how I got to know a lot of old football players like Al Toon and Dexter Manley and guys like that. Of course, I had all the Browns, but
yeah. No, nostalgia is a powerful thing, but it appears that it doesn't have value anymore. Go ahead, Reese.
Nate says in the YouTube chat that he collected X-Men comics. And so if in the 70s, 80s, and 90s you were collecting those things, there was probably a time where you could have made a bunch of money off of them. And I don't know if that time's now or if it's past, but like when like the Marvel boom was happening, like post the first Iron Man, that probably would have sold really well then. Yes. And I wonder if there's care for it now or as much.
Yeah, Al on social, if those silver dollars, they are Morgan silver dollars, there's a bunch of them. If the mint mark is the right one, they could be worth more than the price of silver. Maybe, but this is the one thing I learned, and this is where I got to give some credit to NBC, whose patience or lack thereof caused all of this and got us down this road last night. He did have the sense to sell his cards, some of which he stole from his brothers, like right now. All of us that are men in our 40s or approaching that would have been better off selling our Ken Griffey Jr.'s when we were 12. Not now. Now they're not worth anything. At that time, there were. The Juan Gonzalez reverse negative, the Billy Ripken bottom of the bat, all of those. We should have sold those babies a long, long time ago because they aren't worth anything now. It's kind of the reality of it. All right, so that was the sobering night that I spent last night. I did not think I was going to be on coin detail, but that's the way that it worked out. We've got the Kentucky Derby this weekend. We'll have a little fun with that on one-off sporting events, and we've got NBA and NHL playoffs really starting to heat up as we are inching closer to conference semifinals in both. Ryan Day in about 17 minutes. We're off and running on a Friday edition. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With Truehold, you can sell your home for its current value, so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. Truehold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since Truehold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit Truehold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Sick of the long security lines and flight delays? Travel on your terms. Go RVing and get ready to save at RCD RV's Open House. From May 3rd through the 10th, take advantage of huge deals on new and pre-owned RVs. Our Delaware, Heath, and Pataska locations will feature exclusive sale pricing on all new and pre-owned travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes with special financing rates available, plus discounts on camping accessories. Come by today. We'll have your road ready by Memorial Day. Find unbeatable savings, unforgettable fun, and everything you need to hit the road at rcdrv.com.
Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity, and AI? Attend classes live, online, or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
Going up. Prices keep going up these days. It feels like being on an elevator that only goes up.
Going up.
But not at Metro. We're pushing the down button.
Going down.
We've lowered prices. Get one line of 5G data for $40, period. That's 20% lower. And you get a free 5G phone when you bring your number. Only at Metro.
5-year guarantee on eligible plans. Exclusions apply. See website for details. Not available at Metro with T-Mobile in the past 6 months. Tax applies.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Spring weather has arrived, and we all know what that brings. Warmer weather and severe storms. Well, when bad weather hits, we all know it can cause leaky roofs or even damage to your siding and gutters. The Roofing Guys are your local experts in roofing, siding, and gutters and more, providing top quality through every roof, every time. So it's just a small repair, full replacement, or even peace of mind. You need to contact my guys, the Roofing Guys, 614-626-7000, or visit them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
The Fan has been ranked as the second best sports station in America by our industry peers. Our heartfelt thank you is in order. But we're not doing it because we're better than that hillbilly Birmingham station that came in first. Thanks for nothing.
Flexible, secure, fun. Oh, and great pay, too. Are you not sure what you want to do for a career? Or are you thinking of changing careers? Being a dental hygienist or dental assistant may be the perfect fit for you and provides all of these perks plus more. Talk with a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org to learn more. Become a valuable member of the dental team and start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at scattered showers and storms this afternoon. A few could be gusty, so stay weather aware, but a bigger chance for severe weather comes this evening into tonight with a line of storms likely to bring with it widespread chances for damaging wind. 10 TV Weather Impact Alert Day will be in place. Temperatures will go from the 70s this afternoon to 60s with rain tomorrow. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. 10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
So the price of silver is like $33 an ounce. So maybe
how many ounces you got in that bag?
Well, I showed you guys on the here.
Hold it up for the camera again.
Hold on.
Because that's a damn shame what happened to the bag. But if the enough silver's in there, I guess buy him another one.
The bag is no more. Pretty much, it's not. It's not the way it was intended anymore.
Well,
the case.
Yeah.
No, he ripped it.
He ripped it in two different ways.
Well, I did the second one.
Oh, okay.
Like at this point, what's the point? So here it is. I'd say this thing's like 20 pounds. If you're on the YouTube chat, you could see it. It's like 20 pounds. You see where he ripped this part and then I cut the other. But I think it's about 20 pounds worth of coins. Yeah. So maybe that's the best way to play.
That's a lot.
You can kind of hear that thud.
Yeah, it's 20. I'd say it's about 20 pounds, something like that. So maybe that's the best way. But is that how it was intended? Right? Like it wasn't probably intended to be melted. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if any of that stuff, I don't think anything's worth anything anymore. Josh on the social, he has a complete set of 1992 Dream Team starting lineups. John says that the Nike Jordan, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders posters are going for a lot of money. I have seen, my brother had the Jordan Jumpman one, but it's got holes in it.
Yeah, would you have to have it in pristine condition and framed and PSA graded? No. I don't know do they grade posters too?
I have no idea, but that's the problem with all this stuff. It's like all the G.I. Joes I had as a kid. Like you'll find like classic toy stores that sell that stuff for a high price, but everything's in a package because guess what? We played with them.
Yeah.
You played with them.
Man, my favorite poster was that 44 Magnum, Eric Davis. Oh, that was nice.
Was that the guys who did that? Was that Costa Brothers?
I'm not sure about that.
I think they were called, hold on.
I just know I loved that poster.
There's a really cool, if you're ever down in the short north, closer to the convention center, there's a vintage toy store, Big Fun Toys. Yeah. It's cool to just kind of walk through because they have all the Transformers and G.I. Joe and every Lego figure that's ever been assembled. But the older ones go for a pretty penny, and a lot of them are just gently to not so gently used.
Do you think, here's the thing, though, like if you own one of those stores, of 100 people who walk in, how many buy? And how many people just treat it almost like a museum?
Yeah, maybe a dozen of 100.
I think it's about a 10% at best. I mean, I went into one of those. I forget the name of it, but it actually might have been that one you just referenced. That's where I got the Mega Monopoly that we play with the boys. You can play Monopoly in like an hour because you don't have to get all of the properties. Did I tell you guys about that? It's a new Monopoly where the money's bigger. You can build skyscrapers. You can build train depots.
I've done Monopoly Go, which is a card game, and that's a quicker version of it.
Yeah. Mega Monopoly's money because you can build houses if you have 2/3 or 3/4 of the properties. So it goes quick. Like you're done in an hour, easy. It's Coast to Coast Brothers. Was the Coast to Coast Brothers were the guy. So they did the Magnum 44. They did the Land of Boz, the Bash Brothers, the Mailman. All of those were those guys.
They did a good job.
Everybody put those on walls. We all did. Nobody sit there, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. Like posters, my walls as a kid were just loaded. It was posters. It was a healthy dose of like Samantha Fox and Magic Johnson. Like that was...
As well as should be.
That's the way it should be. A little Oral Hershiser in there, maybe. The Monsters of the Midway. That was kind of the mix of it all. Yeah, I don't know. It was, so anyway, that's what my night was last night. We also, we're getting closer here on the ice and the hardwood to playing a little games that matter. Nice clutch 3 from Jalen Brunson last night. Give some flowers to Detroit, though, that felt like that organization was going nowhere for the longest time, and they have a little bit of momentum here with this series and stretching it to 4. So the Eastern Conference is set in the NBA in the semis. It'll be Cavs-Pacers. That one starts on Sunday. Then it'll be Knicks and Celtics. That one will rate quite well. On the Western side of things, you're going to get a Game 7 in the first round. That'll be played tomorrow night between the Nuggets and the Clippers. The winner there will... feels like be sacrificial lambs for Oklahoma City, who I'm not sure anybody's beating, quite honestly. By the way, don't they still have like 100 first-round picks coming?
I think so.
Yeah, I think there's a glut of picks that come their way, and they have the deepest, best roster in basketball, so that get used to them. They're going to be around a while. And then on the other side of things, you're going to have a Game 6 tonight between the Rockets and Warriors. Golden State leads that series 3-2. So if you're NBA executive, you kind of got everything you want out of the East. That's about as good as it gets with Cavs and Pacers, and then of course Knicks Celtics will be great. Thunder, and I think you're probably hoping
Warriors.
Warriors for sure. Warriors Timberwolves will be the moneymaker there. Clippers Nuggets, I don't think it matters much. I think they're both about the same from a glamour standpoint.
I think
there's no glamour to the Clippers.
I think you get a little star power with Jokic, right? So maybe they'd rather have Denver, but
I'm looking here. OKC has 3 first-round picks in 2025, 2 in 2026, 2 in 2027, only 1 in 2028, 2 in 2029. I can go down to 2030. They've got one. 2031. That's bonkers.
Is this all the remnants from like trading Paul? Like what they fleeced the Clippers for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Yeah,
in the Paul George deal.
A lot of Los Angeles Clippers in this.
Yeah, I mean they just fleeced them. It's crazy. The crazy thing is they're not going to be able to draft all those players because they're going to retain their own players, so they're going to be able to trade them for players.
That's the thing. Like draft picks in the NBA aren't really worth anything, to use as capital to acquire proven commodities. To your point about the Pistons, that's why JB Bickerstaff's coach of the year candidate. Kenny Atkinson's up there as well. Ime Udoka of the Rockets. Like Detroit's a really good team, and they're going to be better in years to come.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm thrilled as a Cavs fan you're not running into the Knicks in the second round.
Yeah. Push that out a little bit. On the NHL side of things, Leafs moved on last night. They win 4-2, win the series 4-2. So they will get Florida in the semifinals. That will be the top half of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The bottom half will be Caps and Canes. So those two both took care of business 4-1. Then on the Western side of things, the bottom half is sorted out. The Golden Knights move on 3-2 win over the Wild. Last game for Marc-Andre Fleury last night for Minnesota. That was, I mean, he's a gold jacket. If they had him in hockey, he'd be one. The Oilers move on as well. They win that series 4-2. That game was crazy with the goals. The boys are actually watching the start of that. They win 6-4. So it'll be Golden Knights and Oilers on the bottom half. And then up top, you're waiting on a Game 7 between Dallas and the Avs. That one is set for tomorrow. Tonight, it'll be the Jets and the Blues in a Game 6 on that side of things. If you're the NHL, Toronto versus...
Probably want Ovechkin.
Yeah, well, in the final, Eastern Conference final, Ovechkin versus Toronto would be a win. On the Western side of things, McDavid, you're not going to, I mean, television market-wise, but you want your best star probably playing on the high. You do not want the Jets, even though they're the best team. That'd be worst-case scenario. Probably Avs, I would think.
The Vegas-Edmonton series, you have at least the storyline in hockey of McDavid and Eichel, and they went 1-2. In their draft. You got to think they would love Ovechkin in Toronto, but I don't think, does anyone believe Toronto's beating Florida?
No.
Especially after what Florida just did?
No.
No,
they don't. No. I don't know if Toronto, I mean, they are, you think about the punished fan bases that we have in American sports. The Toronto Maple Leafs I think the way to describe this would be the Toronto Maple Leafs would be like if the New York Yankees had the Boston Red Sox history without the championships in the last 20 years. Like the biggest market in the sport where it cares the most about the sport, and they haven't won it since, 1964?
I think it's 67.
Is it
something
60?
like that? It's somewhere
Them
in
and the
there.
Browns are right around the same. Maybe the Browns are 64, maybe they're 67.
I don't feel bad for them, though, because they've been really good. They just haven't won it, but they've been pretty
when have
darn
they even
good.
been? They haven't played for the Cup since when? When's the last time Toronto played for the Cup?
Been a long time.
The 90s? I don't even know when the last time they played for the Cup. It's been forever. Last Canadian team to win it was Patrick Waugh and the Canadians. That was against Gretzky with the Kings in the early 90s. I don't even know the last time it's probably been 30 years since the Leafs have played for the Cup.
Trying to pull it up here real quick and
When's
see.
the last time they were in an Eastern Conference final?
Yeah, there's been a lot of first-round exits, second-round exits.
Yeah.
You got a handful of years between 05 and 15, about a decade. They either didn't qualify, lost in the conference quarterfinals in 2013. Goodness. It's been a minute for these boys.
When have they last won a conference?
Like
the fact that it's taking this long tells
Yeah, it's you're scrolling. You're doing
they have
so
no
much scrolling
conference
for them.
championships. Yeah. None. Zero. The last time they won the Cup was 1967.
67, yeah.
They've never even played for it since 67?
Since then.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bake, you want to
not good.
retract? Do you feel bad for him now?
No, I don't.
No.
Actually, I don't feel bad for him at all.
Oh, my God. That's an unbelievable drought. That's the Cubs and the Red Sox before they won it, is what that is.
It looks like, yeah, they have not played for it since 67 either.
No. Yeah, since that's been a minute, brother.
They lost in the conference semifinals the year before the lockout.
Jeez.
So
that's a long time. The Buckeyes brought home all of the hardware this past year. One of the things that they had to deal with was the storyline surrounding how this team was put together. Ryan Day pushed back big on that with CBS Sports' Josh Pate. We'll have some of that for you in 2 minutes, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BODY to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BODY to 321-321. That's BODY to 321-321.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. And Rich and his team are ready to get you in a great new Honda this spring. Purchase or lease. He's going to make you feel awesome about your next vehicle and your experience. Grab a hold of this one, a 2025 Honda Accord Hybrid Sport. Lease it for only $347 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles, and only $19.99 down. He's got rates as low as 2.9%. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Save big money on everything you need for your next project at Menards. Steelworks offers a wide selection of aluminum and steel materials for any project. Choose from durable steel angle iron to tubular steel and aluminum and steel sheets and rods that are built to last. Perfect for DIYers and professionals alike to get the job done right. Shop and save today on Steelworks products at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer at menards.com for even more great deals.
Save big money at Menards.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
All right, here's what's up on a Friday edition of the program. Ryan Day continuing to make the media rounds. I explained this a little bit yesterday. Some of it is just people ask and they're saying yes. That's part of it. The other part of it is he is a 24/7, 365 fundraiser. And the more of that he can do, the better. And the reason that he has to fundraise is, quite honestly, they need the collective to stay robust so that they can continue to do what they've done the last couple of years. I mean, this is the game as it's being played right now. We talked about this a little bit yesterday with University of Texas and the report from Kirk Bowles, who's been on that beat for ever, first with the Austin newspaper and most recently with the one in Houston, which is now the same operation. And one of the things that he reported was that it cost upwards of $40 million that Texas is spending on football. I'll say the same thing to them, the same thing I said about Ohio State a year ago. Good. You should. You're Texas. You have a lot of money. Ohio State should do the same thing. Any school that's got money and wants to use their resources on their football program through their booster base, God bless you. More power to you. And so I never understood the idea that compensating highly motivated, highly talented players to play college football within the rules of the game is somehow a black eye. Not at all. In fact, I view it the other way. I view it as a badge of honor. But one of the things that happened last season was this narrative that Ohio State was the best team money could buy, and this was pushed by ESPN. It was talked about by Fox. It was something that was talked about a lot over the course of the season. It felt like every time that there was a Buckeye game, there was a mention of it. And one thing I pushed back on at the time was, from people I talked to, they weren't even spending the most in the sport. And yet it was acted like they were the anomaly. Since that's happened, we've heard very little about Michigan paying $12 million for a high school football player. We heard very little about this Texas thing. We'll see if anything comes of it. So I could understand how it could be a burr in Ryan Day's saddle a little bit, this notion that the only reason they won it is because they paid for it. Josh Pate of CBS Sports had an exclusive one-on-one with Ryan within the last couple of days. They put it out last night. And among the topics of conversation was exactly that. Here is your Buckeye head coach on the topic.
I think that's where, it's just easy for people to say, well, Ohio State had NIL for this amount of money or whatever that is. And it's just so cheap and so easy for someone to say. If you actually do the research, and all it does is really tell you the value of an Ohio State football player. When you look at a brand that has, just south of 12 million fans in the city of Columbus with 2 million people and the power of Ohio State, yeah, our guys are going to make a lot of money in NIL. And the truth is, the majority of those guys were all guys that decided to come back, who were already on the team that we've recruited and developed. We did add 6 or 7 guys, but not 15, not 20, where we went out there and just went and got the best players in college football. That wasn't the case. And that's not what won us a championship. I think it's just easy for people just to kind of say that, and just because it's easy and it's cheap. But when you really do your research and you look through it, like, all of these guys had been here multiple years. I'm pretty defensive of that because, these guys who came through here and have scars. I mean, you don't always remember the wins until you win championships. You remember the losses around here. And these guys have some scars along the way, and that's what kept them together throughout the entire road. And so, yeah, I never really got into that or addressed that. But, our guys hear that over and over again, and people around the building with these high expectations, and we're just throwing out numbers like that. But that really didn't affect us in the end because we knew that wasn't the case. It wasn't like we just had the best players money could buy, if anyone actually did the research.
Herb Street did a pretty good job in the lead up to the national championship game talking about that was retaining a lot of their guys who could have gone pro and decided to come back. It's been well documented, certainly. I thought this was interesting, too. This is RD with Josh Pate of CBS Sports discussing when he knew he had Tennessee and Oregon beat.
The Tennessee game is when we came out of the locker room and there was some orange in the crowd. And I think everybody in that stadium felt like our backs were against the wall, including us. And at that moment, it could have gone one of two ways. And our guys just went wild during the warm-ups. And I said, okay, at that point, I knew we were in a good place. And then just the way we came out and played early in that first quarter, you knew we weren't going to be denied. And there was just so much pent-up stuff coming over those 3 weeks after the last loss. I mean, just an angry group of guys playing that way. I thought we did a good job of getting the ball to our playmakers on offense. I thought we did a really good job schematically and running the ball on defense in that game. But then going into the Rose Bowl, now it's all kind of coming together here. And you get like a 10-day window to start to prepare, which is a great amount of time, I think, because as a head coach, you get a little more time to work on the X's and O's, which was a lot of fun. And we were able to tweak some things along the way. We had a good friend of ours who was in the Navy SEAL who we spent some time with, Clint Bruce, talk about how in hostage rescue, when you walk into a room, if someone goes right, you go left, someone goes up, you go down. and he was explaining, when things are all in motion and everyone's kind of moving in the right spots and everything is going together just right. He says, I would feel bad for the enemy, There was a point in that game where I felt like that was the case. Everything was just right. Everything was moving right. And you can feel that synergy as a team, in your preparation, your walkthroughs, the way we traveled, the way the guys handled the media. And then as we got on the field, you could just kind of feel that confidence. And we were executing well on offense, playing well on defense, and you could just see that kind of happening together. And then we knew that at some point Oregon's a very good team, very well coached, good players. They were going to swing back, which they did. But we just kept the pedal to the metal and continued to push forward.
Yeah, I think those two things kind of marry, don't they? I think of a team that played last year with such an incredible amount of pressure, such an incredible amount of burden. You go back to that Monday after the Michigan game and the sky falling and everything that was happening around here. The one thing that I think you held on to a little bit of hope, if you were a rational person, was that you knew they were going to get in, that they're going to get in. And so they're going to have some more at-bats. You had a very good idea that they were going to get a home playoff game. They did. I will say that the Tennessee game, when you go back and do a documentary on this, or people write the books on this, I think the Tennessee Saturday will go down as one of the more surreal Saturdays around here, truly. And that was one of those ones. I remember doing the show that Friday and thinking to myself, I have no idea what's going to happen. No idea. Felt like they could win, but it was one of those instances, Reese, and you and I were doing it. I think Tyvus was in with us too, but I remember even doing 3 things we expect to see on Saturday, and it was like, it could be anything. They could win by 20. They could lose by 20. It could be close. You had no idea how they'd respond. I think that Tennessee Saturday is one of the more uneasy Buckeye Saturdays I remember, because you just think of what was on the line and how it could have gone either way, and nobody had a clue. And anybody who says they did, they're lying. They didn't.
Nobody had a clue. I think even more people had no confidence in this Ohio State team, because you had a month to kind of sit and stew over the Michigan loss. And so you thought, all right, if this team shows up 100%, maybe keeping it close with Tennessee, maybe get a chance to win at the end, last team with the ball. But Tennessee fans were so chesty because it was, Neyland North. It was Tennessee fans are going to invade Ohio Stadium, and you didn't hear it. And I understand, again, because you lose the game to Michigan for the 4th year in a row, you're not feeling great at all. I mean, I remember doing the post-Michigan show with Baker, and people saying, I don't even want to be part of the playoff. I'm like, well, I understand why you feel that way, but let's give it some time. And then for Ohio State to go out there and be the team that we all thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season. Like, that was the Ohio State operation. We'd all said yes. If they're operating, firing on all cylinders, that is what this team is.
That's why I said rational. There weren't many that Saturday after the Michigan loss, Big.
It's interesting that Ryan Day talks about some of the things that were said leading up to the Tennessee game and some of the things that happened on the field that day before the game. Yeah. And I wonder if that was like the perfect thing for Ohio State, to get a chesty Tennessee coming in here and get them fired up. I will say this, with the Tennessee game going into it, I didn't think it'd be a close game. I thought it was either blowout city for Ohio State or they had lied down and died and they were going to get it put on them, because I didn't think Tennessee was that great. The Oregon 34-0 start to me is still just baffling and amazing, because I don't think there's any doubt Oregon was the best or second best team in the country this year. They just ran like I don't think it would have mattered if Oregon had Tom Brady at quarterback that day. They were getting blitzed.
Yeah, I didn't. I think for me at least, once Tennessee happened though, then I was confident they'd win the rest. Like, I didn't think they were losing to Oregon for the second time. No way. That team's not beating you twice. And there's no way you're losing to Texas, and then you're not going to lose to Notre Dame. So to me, it's interesting that I agree with you. Oregon was probably the second best team in college football last year. They were right there, neck and neck. But to me, the one that I was the most uneasy about was Tennessee. That's the one once I saw that they could reach that gear, once that gear was one that they could hit, then it was like, okay, this is who they are, and you're going to finally see it come to fruition. But it was all of that stuff. I think you make a great point, Bake. I don't know if they beat Tennessee if that Saturday doesn't go the way that it does in that preparation leading up to it, when everybody's given everyone advanced Tennessee in their brackets, the volunteer invasion, all of that nonsense. And there were a lot of them in there. Not as many as, some of the folks on the call on the television were making it lead you to believe. It wasn't 50,000 Tennessee fans, but it was more than I've ever seen of an opposing fan. And all that stuff was real. And I think all of that contributed to the performance.
This is probably a topic for another day, and I know we're up against it, but that Saturday...
Fish isn't here. You got time.
That Saturday, that might go down as one of the best days in Buckeye sports history, right? Because of the Kentucky beatdown on basketball, right into the Tennessee beatdown in the college football playoffs.
It's a good one.
I just remember Will looking at the Tennessee linemen coming out with shirts off and then them scurrying over to the sideline to put the shirts back on and be like, we're smoking these fools.
Yeah, he said
that's incredible. And I wonder if Day was just being nice with Josh Pate there when he probably realized the same thing. Walked into that stadium and saw, the Tennessee players kind of trying to act like tough guys. And, that's the narrative of you're in a Ferrari, Ohio. You don't need to be a tough guy.
Just drive it, brother. Just drive it, and you're going to be fine. The Cavaliers now, speaking about teams playing with a lot of pressure all season long, the Cavaliers have not played with pressure all season long, but there will be pressure now when you have the type of season they do, and we will be locked into it. Semifinals start on Sunday. Get you set for it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Newman Roofing, as part of their 2025 Commitment to Community initiative, is proud to partner with 10TV and The Fan to launch Raise the Roof, honoring local heroes who are going above and beyond in their communities. Newman Roofing wants to recognize the volunteers, educators, first responders, and everyday difference makers who are making a meaningful impact in their towns to be recognized on 10TV and The Fan. Stay tuned as we begin announcing the selected honorees who truly embody the spirit of Newman Roofing's commitment to community.
It's time for the Great Haircut Sale at your local Great Clips salon. Your chance to get a great haircut at an even greater price, just $7.99. And money's not all you'll save at Great Clips. When you use online check-in, you can save time too. So download our app today and hurry in for the $7.99 Great Haircut Sale at Great Clips. It's gonna be great. For a limited time at participating salons.
The $7.99 Great Haircut Sale runs May 3rd through May 9th.
Visit our Columbus area salons.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, you're the Carfax guy.
The Carfax from Carfax.
Wow.
And you, sir, work at Tire Discounters.
I sure do.
The Carfax top-rated service center.
Oh, right. You know, a lot of that's because of our services. But people think we're just about tires.
Maybe it's your name.
Yeah.
Tire Discounters. And your jingle.
Oh, you like it?
I think it needs something.
Yeah? Like what?
Hit it! Plus brakes, oil changes, shocks, and struts, and more. Now that speaks to me.
Feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Not sure how to get the mental health help you need? We've got your back. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442. We'll help you figure out what mental health benefits may be in your health plan. No more confusion, just the support you deserve. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Rothman and Ice.
When you're paying a guy this amount of money, you either feel like you're right there and he's going to put you over the top, or you've got the runway to get it done.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Cavaliers of the Eastern Conference Finals. It kicks off on Sunday. Do we have a tip time on this, Reese?
Not yet. They're still waiting because TNT's got what would be a potential Game 7 out west between the Warriors and the Rockets. So I think Golden State hosts Game 6 tonight. So if it goes to a Game 7, then I think you'll have an earlier tip time. If it is not a Game 7 in that series, then I think you'll have later in the afternoon, early evening tip time for Cavs Pacers.
Would one of them be on ESPN or
nope.
is that
both Max?
Come again? So they're TNT
both,
/ Max.
Both
no
on
what?
TNT. Yeah, I'm using how I find it. I have Max, so.
I saw that Teddy Cruz is having a little congressional hearing.
Yeah, Tommy Tuberville is meeting with the president. Nick Saban's there too. Trying
They're
to
all
fix
there for
NIL.
Streaming? They're doing streaming. Did you see this?
No, I saw the Tuberville meeting with Saban and Trump to fix NIL, but
well, he's going to run for governor of Alabama, though. So
he didn't want that job.
The idea that dude is at a recruiting dinner in Lubbock, Texas, and as the story goes, and I'm sure this isn't what happened, basically snuck out through a window to leave in the middle of the meal to go take the Cincinnati job. Like, first of all, that tells you the elevated spot that Cincinnati was in at the time that job was available, but also it tells you how different the Lubbock job is now at Texas Tech with all the money that they've thrown around. That's a much better job now, now that they have all the landman oil money to make things work. But yeah, they're having one of the things Ted Cruz is having this today. Today's the day. Fish sent it to me. And the idea being that they have people representing the NHL. Guess there's of the four bigs, right? Four bigs in American sports. 3 of the 4 are represented, not by their commissioners, but by legal counsel. 1 is not. Which one do you think is not represented today?
The NFL.
The NFL.
Of course. Go to hell, Congress.
We don't need your money and help.
Deleted that email or laughed at that request on the phone so quickly.
So the point of the hearing, which I'm sure will be a giant waste of time, but the point of the hearing is to Ted Cruz wants to make sure that you can always see your sports over the air. That's his big push. That right now the sports are so pushed around the very different platforms and very different apps that it's very difficult for the consumer to check it out. Good luck with all that. Good luck with all that. I do think you will see something that has happened where you will see in some instances. This is happening out in Phoenix. I got to tell you, I am naive to this because, again, I'm still old cable guy. So I still get everything on the cable system. I'm like one of the 10 guys left who are still doing it this way. But it's in terms of like Blue Jackets, Reds, Guards, all of those things, Cavaliers, obviously Crew or Apple. But I mean, the rest of that stuff, how are you guys consuming it? Are those apps or are you watching it through what?
Are you a cop?
No, and I don't know any.
I feel like that's both of our answers, right?
I don't know. Like, do you have to identify yourself as a cop, or is that just an urban legend?
They say it in the movies.
Yeah.
So I think it must be true.
But I have various... Again, the fact that Amazon's got some stuff, the fact that Max has the Eastern Conference, had the Eastern Conference first round, and then has the Eastern Conference semifinals makes it a hell of a lot easier for me.
Let me just say that. Let me clarify. Can you watch any of that stuff just over the air?
No, with the Rabbit Ears, not until I think conference finals and then the NBA finals.
So,
it's
Bo,
on ABC.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Bo, this is where I thought you were going with this because you said something about Arizona. And I remember when I was out in Arizona for spring training a couple years for the Reds, they were talking about, I believe it was Utah Jazz basketball and Arizona Coyotes at the time, NHL games, and how a local TV station was going to broadcast those. And I have, with everything that was going on with Bally/FanDuel Sports Networks here this year, I wondered if that's why the Blue Jackets were putting some of their games on the CW, Fox, ABC, things like that around the region this year, if they were testing that out as something they could do just in case.
So, yeah, that is what I was referring to. There was I think Matt Ishbia did this with the Suns. I think that Ryan, I forget his last name, the guy, Ryan Miller, I think, is the owner of the Jazz and the soon-to-be Utah Mammoth. Ryan Smith. Good job out of you. Larry Miller was the former owner of the Jazz. So Ryan Smith owns the Jazz, and he owns, I think it leaked, right? It's going to be the Utah Mammoth.
Yeah, they changed their Twitter handle.
Yeah. That's fine. It's a decent pivot.
Yeah.
Utah Yeti was pretty great.
It was so cool.
It was awesome. But I also understand, like, the drink cooler place is probably not fond of that, so I get it. But anyway, he was talking about doing it too, and I didn't know because, again, I still have the cable, so I didn't know if any of them had tried that around here. But I do think there's a needle to thread there, because one thing that I think that's happened to the NHL over the last 20 years that's happening to Major League Baseball, could be happening to it too, is if you're not on network television, you still get lost, man. You really do. And we've talked about this before, and the Ohio State coaches have talked about this. Like, not being on ESPN is not great in terms of the promotional value of all of that. So I do think it is something to pay attention to as these things continue to evolve, although I'm not confident anything will get done today on Capitol Hill. What do you got for Cavs Pacers, Reese? What's your feel on this?
I got Cavs in 6.
Yeah, it feels like
I think Cleveland's puff pass offense frustrated the Miami Heat, but the Pacers, I think, are better equipped to defend it.
I heard Chris Fedor talking about this, who's covered them for a long time. Yesterday, he tweeted this out, and this was kind of the one matchup that makes Cavs fans a little nervy, because the Pacers kind of have a little bit of the kryptonite.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So is this 2-2-1-1-1, or is it 2-3-2? Because that's always my thing with the Game 6. Where's it being played?
I believe the NBA has switched that, and it's always 2-2-1-1-1.
So this series, 2-2-1-1-1.
Are the finals that way now too?
Yes, I think the 2-3-2 has been gone for quite some time.
In the final, so the NBA used to have it different, where it was the 1-1-1. I don't know. I lose track. But winning, I'm with you on 6. That's my. But then that would you'd have to win in Indy. Would be the difference there. But I think it'll be a long series, and hopefully it's a dramatic one. It'd be nice. And then either it's Knicks or Celtics. That's a lot of fun if you get to the conference finals. Second hour of the program up next. You will be shocked, or maybe you won't if you listen regularly, how few of the top-rated quarterbacks of the 2023 class haven't already transferred. And then piggybacking off of this, how can Ohio State keep them all happy? We will get to that, among other things, coming up here in the second hour of the program. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Oh, hey, the best football team in the country's on the best radio station in the country. Congratulations, Buckeyes. Here's to 100 more years together. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Discover uncompromising quality at a reliable price with Giant Eagle and Market District. Look for signs throughout the store highlighting lower prices. Surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle. Experience value like never before. Visit Giant Eagle today to see how easy it is to save.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks. Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. This month of May is a fantastic time to win at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Win a pair of tickets to the Memorial Tournament by visiting at Hollywood Columbus on social media and follow the steps for a chance to win. You've got a chance every Tuesday for second chance drawings. You can cash it on your losing wagers. 5 winners every Tuesday get $100 pen cash. Plus, all-you-can-eat ribs Tuesdays and Thursdays in May, only at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, 3-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, 2-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to LifeSearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit LifeSearch.com today.
Hey, it's Anthony. You know what the slogan is at the Good Feet store? Good feet, good life. Friends have asked me, how are my personally fit arch supports different from the inserts and insoles they can buy online or in department stores? There are big differences. My Good Feet arch supports are designed to provide me firm yet flexible function. What does that do? They actually help correct poor foot biomechanics, which leads to providing me long-term pain relief. I was also the guy who thought, well, if I buy good shoes, my feet won't hurt. It wasn't a bad thought. A lot of people think shoes are always the problem, when in reality, it's often the foot that goes into the shoe that's the real source of discomfort. When I got my personally fit Good Feet arch supports, my feet felt stabilized. The pain and discomfort went away. For more than 30 years, the Good Feet store has helped thousands of people, just like me, discover the comfort they've been dreaming of. They're on Stringtown Road in Grove City or Polaris Parkway. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Now at White Castle, you can get 12 chicken rings for just $3.99. Tender on the inside, crispy on the outside. Choose from classic or our new Cheddar Blast flavor made with real cheddar cheese. White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only at participating castles. Tax not included.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Evan Cohen here. Picking a place to build a life is a lot like selecting a draft pick. Make a decision that will set you up for long-term success. Pick Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, you'll find dynamic career opportunities, beautiful seasons, affordable living, and legendary weekends. From its high quality of life and great schools to its fine arts, culinary, and pro sports scenes, Wisconsin gives you so much to look forward to. That's why you should pick Wisconsin. Learn more about making Wisconsin your home. Visit pickwisconsin.com. Evan Cohen here. La Quinta by Wyndham is deeply grateful for all our military members, veterans, and their families. They understand the dedication, sacrifice, and hard work that comes with serving our country. As a thank you, La Quinta offers 12% off standard rates, upgraded Wyndham Rewards, Gold Status membership, and preferred parking. They want to make sure your stay is as comfortable and rewarding as possible, and they're proud to serve those who serve. Tonight, La Quinta, tomorrow you shine. Visit LQ.com to learn more about these special military perks and discounts. Restrictions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Less than 1 week after being fired by the Penguins, the New York Rangers have made Mike Sullivan the 38th coach in franchise history. It's a 2-year deal for the 57-year-old Sullivan, who was an assistant in New York under John Tortorella back in 2009. Torts is reportedly going back to the Big Apple to serve in some capacity with the Rangers. Tortorella was dismissed by the Flyers in March. On the ice last night, the Maple Leafs eliminated the Senators. The Golden Knights knocked out the Wild. The Oilers advanced over the Kings. And the Avalanche evened their first-round series with the Stars at 3 games apiece. Dallas will host Colorado in Game 7 Saturday. In baseball, the Guardians took 3 of 4 games this week against the Twins. Cleveland's at Toronto tonight at 7. The Reds avoided the sweep by the Cardinals. Cincinnati will host Washington tonight at 6:10. This update sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Mark Levy's office a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Paul Finebaum coming up in 28 minutes from now. Where does the Kentucky Derby rank on a short list of one-off sporting event days? So I would say the iconic ones that come to pop into my head right away. In terms of one-offs, you got the Derby, you got the Indy 500, and I think you've got the Daytona 500. There was a time when I was in the South that the Daytona 500 definitely lapped the Indy 500. I don't know if it still feels that way. You might make an argument. I think this weekend is the F1 race at Miami.
It is.
That one, that thing's got a lot of juice. Those are the ones that come to mind for me, though.
Kentucky Derby is pretty high, and I think obviously the betting aspect of that is huge, and also it's just 2 minutes, right? You blink and you miss it.
Have you been?
So I have not been.
Well, I took my dad I can't remember. I mean, he must have been when he turned 60. I must have taken him for sure, because NBC wasn't born yet. My wife was pregnant with NBC at the time. So, I want to do something nice for my dad when I used to like him. And I said, well, let's take the old man to the Kentucky Derby. So my wife and I and my mom and dad went to the Kentucky Derby, and we bought tickets at the time. And I don't know what Derby ticketing is like now, but what it was like at the time was infield, come on in, baby. The temperature's great. Just jump right in. But I'm thinking to myself, I can't take a 6-year-old man at the time and my mom. I'm not taking them and going to stand in the infield. You're not going to be able to see anything. So there's infield, and then there was like Millionaire's Row, like up in the grandstands. And if you've not been to Churchill Downs, and this I think would be the same thing. I've been to the Daytona 500 too. I've not done Indy yet. But all of these things, if you're not up high enough in the stands and you really want to watch it, you're not seeing anything. These are huge tracks, whether horses or cars. They're huge. So if you're not up high enough, you're really just seeing, that's it. That's all you're getting out of them. So my thinking was, and the other thing I remember is much like this weekend, I believe that's the forecast down in Louisville tomorrow for the Derby, as basically this whole region's going to be wet over the course of the next few days. There was rain in the forecast. So I said, I got to be undercover. So what I purchased was 4 tickets in a box. So it's a box of 6 is what I got. It was around $1,000 a ticket. Big one. It was a big hit. But thought Dad turned 60 once. For the most part, he's been a decent dude. We'll stay out of the rain and we'll do it. So it was around $1,000 a ticket. So I had a box that was in the main grandstands. So it was I bought 4 out of 6. There were 6 seats in the box. So we get there, we go through it. You park in a neighborhood's like the front yard of a neighborhood is where you ended up parking. Like you give some guy $20-$40 and you just pull in and park in a neighborhood. Like I'm sure there is VIP parking, but I didn't have it. So we just did that, and then we hoofed it into Churchill Downs. So you get in there, and what it amounted to, when they said box, they really meant 4 2x4s, 3 2x4s, like just kind of no walls, just 2x4s, and then folding chairs stacked in. It was like 6 folding chairs. That was the box. That's what you got for $4,000. Was that? By the way, we weren't the only ones in the box. There were 2 other people in the box with us who we did not know, who probably paid a similar price on the secondary market. So when I say box, there was no luxury to it, kids. Not at all.
What was the bathroom situation like?
Public. I mean,
like porta-johns?
No. No. There were real bathrooms. We were in the main grandstand area. So you could just, it was convenient. You just walked right back in, and you could go make your bets, and then use the restroom and the facilities and all of that. And the mid-juleps were great. All of that won. But it was interesting. So, like, obviously they race all day long. The Kentucky Derby isn't even the last race of the day. I think it's the 8th. I think there's 2 more races after the Kentucky Derby, but there's 7 that lead into it, at least.
I think it's more. I think it's like
Maybe
the 13th or 14th or 16th. It's something like there's a bunch of races
it's all
that
day.
Yeah, post time this year 6:57 Eastern.
So they moved that way back. It used to be, the post time for the Kentucky Derby used to be, it was always, because when I was at Channel 10, I never missed it. Like, this was something that was near and dear to my family's heart. So, like, I never missed it. It was always 10:20. Or, I'm sorry, it was always 6:20 was the time. So it was right as I was going to go do local sports when I was in the Eastern time zone, whether Tallahassee or here in town. It was always at 6:20. So it was always whether I would miss it or not. Could I get sports done in the time it took to run it? So they pushed all of that back. But, yeah, they run races all day long. So when it came time for like my old Kentucky home and the dun, 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 all that, we actually walked down to the railing because you couldn't see anything from the box because of the overhang. It was like B-deck. It's what it amounted to. And there were no monitors. There were hardly any monitors in the whole area. So, like, you really couldn't see the racing at all. You'd basically just kind of hope that you could see them out of the corner of your eye coming down the home stretch. But that was it. So, and the thing I would tell you, if you ever go to the Daytona 500, I can't speak to Indy again, haven't been there. Daytona 500, be as high up as you can. Be as high up as you can. That's your best chance of being able to see everything. They've eliminated that back. There used to be a whole grandstand, like 80,000 people on the back stretch. Apparently, they got rid of that several years ago, but that was there when I covered it, and I covered it for 6 years. That was always back there. So there's another 80,000 back there. I would tell you this, like, if you ever do decide to go and it's something that matters to you, the pit passes are pretty amazing, and they're basically give you the exact same access that the media has. You can just walk into the pits. I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm trying to track down drivers on speed weeks or, right after the 500, after somebody got crashed out, and I'm mingling with folks who have pit passes. Like, there was no difference between media and pit passes. Same exact exposure for both. But go as high up as you can. That's your best chance to be able to see anything.
Yeah, I've always thought that's we're in Daytona every summer, and you can actually see the top of the grandstands from where we stay over on the beach. And I've always thought, like, those seats that I'm looking at from our balcony would be like the perfect seats if you're going to go there and watch the race. By the way, the Kentucky Derby this year, Bo, is race number 12 of 14 that day.
Wow, 12 of 14. So I wonder if it was race 10 when I went.
Yeah, I think that number changes because I think there's been times it's been like race 13, race 14, things like that. So
I wonder what the move. I bet the move to get it to go back to the 650 is to get them closer to prime time for NBC.
I think
NBC has the rights because that would allow you to bleed into 8 o'clock.
I think so because they have the past couple of years, at least last year for sure, it was 6:57 as well. And the past couple of years, it's been closer to 7.
Yeah. It's funny, like the Oaks has become a really big deal too, which is going to be run day down in Louisville. The Oaks is a that used to be the one that like the Kentucky people would go to the Oaks, and then everybody would come to the Derby. It's a hell of a spectacle. I'll just tell you that. Like, it's a pretty crazy thing to see the people that are there. The cross section of humanity is crazy. The cross section of just what people are wearing is nuts, from all the seersuckers to, there's trainers and cowboy boots and cowboy hats to people in the infield that are in cargo shorts. Like, it's the full spectrum from a in terms of the people who are taking it in.
So, yeah, rain's in the forecast all weekend for Louisville. So, RIP to Jack Harlow's white boots.
Yeah, those.
So what you're saying is find yourself a mutter to bet on.
You got to find a mutter. Yeah. It's also an impossible impossible race to bet. My mom actually, the year we won, I think Animal Kingdom won, and my mom had it. She had Animal Kingdom on her ticket, but we lost all day. We got buried all day, and then she finally won in the Derby. She did get the winner in the Derby.
I guess Bob Baffert had 2 horses. Now this morning he's got 1 horse.
He's back, right?
He's back, yep, since that doping ban that he didn't do.
Definitely taking that horse.
So the broadcast is going to start at noon.
Journalism, I think, right?
Journalism's the favorite. Baffert's is Citizen Bull. He had Rodriguez, was 12-1, but he got
Rodriguez
scratched.
Dropped?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, there was a lot of juice on Rodriguez, so he dropped out, huh? Okay.
How can you not like a horse named Citizen Bull? Like,
Citizen
strong.
Bull's pretty good. Yeah, that's strong.
And of course, it's juiced, so it would be strong.
Allegedly, hold on.
Allegedly.
He's learned his lesson, and he's atoned for his sins.
You might be surprised, or you might not be. How many of the top-rated quarterbacks from the 2023 class remain at the school they committed to? That's not that long ago, kids. That's 2 years ago. The list may surprise. And can the Buckeyes keep all three of their quarterbacks happy? What is the plan for that? We'll get to all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
We can come the day you call us.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Okay, ask away.
Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound.
Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point?
There it is. Did you hear that?
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic? Like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Sick of the long security lines and flight delays? Travel on your terms. Go RVing and get ready to save at RCD RV's Open House. From May 3rd through the 10th, take advantage of huge deals on new and pre-owned RVs. Our Delaware, Heath, and Pataska locations will feature exclusive sale pricing on all new and pre-owned travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes with special financing rates available, plus discounts on camping accessories. Come by today. We'll have your road ready by Memorial Day. Find unbeatable savings, unforgettable fun, and everything you need to hit the road at rcdrv.com.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you can sell your home for its current value, so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring is here and it's time to refresh your yard with Ohio Mulch. With 15 convenient locations in Central Ohio, it's easier than ever to get your mulch ready for the season. Need it delivered? No problem. Save $50 on home delivery when you order online. Whether it's mulch, soil, or even stone, we've got your yard covered. Visit OhioMulch.com today and spruce up your garden with the best.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply, greener, greener, better.
For over 78 years, our family's been part of your love stories. At Diamond Seller, we offer bigger diamonds, better prices, and timeless designs for every chapter of your life. From your first yes to your forever I do, trust the jeweler who knows diamonds best. Visit Diamond Seller today.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
After an audit of our programming, the suits here at The Fan decided we needed more baseball. And that common man is stupid. Good news, we fixed one of those problems. Catch the Reds on The Fan all season long. Yay, baseball!
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
from the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
More scattered showers and storms this afternoon. Some could be gusty, so stay weather aware. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. We'll watch rain chances turn to storms again tonight. Some that could be strong to severe. Better chance, in fact, in the afternoon. 10 TV Weather Impact Alert Day will be in place. Rain chances and 60s continue through the weekend. Lingering showers next week. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
You sure are, and we are proud to be sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 78 years. Mother's Day coming quickly. Still time. By the way, how much rain can we take on? When do we reach?
More.
I mean, jeez. Like the ground is just sponge.
Rivers aren't overflowing yet.
Give it a minute. Give it the weekend, brother. Just give it a little time. It'll all be there. If you can, as a city, as a municipality, as a school district, if you can build and put up artificial turf, do it. Because that's the only way kids are going to play sports in the spring in this state. That's it. There's no other way. You're just going to be in the muck otherwise, the way that all of this is going. So if you can do it, get it done. All right, so this was interesting. I saw this. I can't remember if it was at The Athletic. I'm not sure exactly where I saw it, but it was the notion of in the 2023 quarterback class. So that was the recruiting class of just 2 years ago. Here's the list of the top quarterbacks rated by 24/7 Sports in that class. Number 1, Arch Manning, signed with Texas, still plays for Texas. Number 2, Nico Amalieva, signed with Tennessee, now at UCLA. Dante Moore, signed with UCLA, now at Oregon. Jackson Arnold, signed with Oklahoma, now at Auburn. Malachi Nelson, another 5-star. All those guys were 5 stars. Signed with USC, now at Boise State. Number 6 quarterback in that class, Jaden Rashada, signed with Arizona State. I don't know where he is now.
Been everywhere.
Wasn't it Florida?
Signed with Arizona State, though.
Okay.
It was committed to Florida, sued Florida because they didn't have the NIL that he thought he was going to have. Signed with Arizona State, went to Georgia. I don't know where he is now.
Sacramento State is Rashada's new
There
school.
you go. So that's where he currently is.
I'm going to need to look up the Sacramento State mascot here and get familiar with this school because they're going after it.
Yeah, they stand no chance against the mighty Bobcats of Montana State, boys. So don't worry about it. They're in the Big Sky Conference as it stands. Aiden Childs, signed with Oregon State, now at Michigan State. Austin Mack, signed with Washington. I have no idea where he is. He was a number 8 quarterback in the class. Avery Johnson was number 9. He signed at Kansas State. I'm not sure.
He's still there. Yep, he's. They're expecting.
Well, he's a Kansas kid.
They're still expecting big things out of him.
Okay, and he's a Kansas kid, so that would make sense. Where's Austin Mack?
Mack followed DeBoer to Alabama.
Okay, so he's at he's fighting to be the Alabama quarterback with Ty Simpson, I think.
I thought he was a receiver at Ohio State and got drafted by the Giants.
Well, so that happened years ago.
The last one in the top 10 is Christopher Vizina. He signed with Clemson. I don't know if he's still there or not. By the way, number 11 on this list, Lincoln Kienholz. He is still here. That is, of the top 10, 8 are already on to another program. Some of them are on to their 3rd program. This is where we are in modern college football. I think the quarterback position, it is so fascinating because of the development it takes to play the position. And you think about, there's all sorts of reasons why some of these guys moved on. Jackson Arnold, I mean, he won the job at Oklahoma last year and then got benched in the middle of a game for a true freshman and then got it back and then wasn't going to roll the dice anymore on it. Nico obviously kind of was on the right path, right? He just overflexed what he thought he was worth to the University of Tennessee. But if he would have been returning this year to Tennessee, he kind of would have had everything that you want to have. Malachi Nelson was a kid who, if he just had stayed at SC, but he had no patience, now he's at Boise State. I will give him credit for staying there. He did stick around there. Aiden Childs is going to be the quarterback at Michigan State, already is, so that makes all the sense. But the outlier here is Arch. So you go now to the Ohio State quarterback room, and you say to yourself, how do you make sure that you pick the right guy here? How do you make sure that the others stick around? And if you're Ryan Day, can you even worry about that? Or are you now in the mindset of every year I'm going to have turnover? I was surprised to this point they have not added a veteran in the portal. And maybe that speaks to how highly they think of Keenholz and saying that whichever one doesn't win the job is more than capable. And Ryan talked about that this week a little bit, that they love them both and it's neck and neck. And Keenholz probably had the lead until the spring game, and then maybe Julian inched ahead, but it's still neck and neck. But the culture combined with what they're able to do with compensation allows for all three of those guys to still be here. But folks, that's the outlier. I mean, this is unheard of. This is 2 years ago recruiting class. This isn't year 3 on campus. Like, this is 2 years ago.
And I think this is just the beginning. Like, I think you're going to see 2023, the 2024 class, whatever happens in 2025, because I think what happens this year, the 3 quarterbacks that Ohio State has in their room, they'll lose one in the winter portal.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a situation.
You got to play.
right?
At some point, you got to play.
I mean, we were talking a little bit about that before the show, Reese. The only way that they don't lose one of them come following the season here is if Keenholz wins the job and he lights it up and goes pro, and then Julian Sayin takes over next year, and then you have the succession plan with Tavian St. Clair. I was just looking here at the 22 and the 24 classes. The 22 class is not like that. The top
Give me
4.
22 because I got 24 up. Go ahead.
So the 22 class, you had Drew Aller still at Penn State, Cade Klubnik still at Clemson, Connor Wegman still at Texas A&M, and Ty Simpson still at Alabama. Number 5 was Devin Brown. Walker Howard was at LSU. I don't know if he's still there or not. And then Gunnar Stockton is still at Georgia. So most of those in the top there stayed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how much of a difference there is in 1 year.
2024, it's going better too. Legway's still at Florida. He was number 1. Number 2 was Dylan Raiola. He's at Nebraska, but of course his recruiting was crazy, where he was here, then Georgia, then Nebraska. He's still at Nebraska. Julian Sayin was number 3 in that class, according to 24/7. Of course, signed with Alabama, but then ends up here. Luke Cromerhook, Florida State.
He's at Mississippi State now.
Oh, he's gone. Okay,
Yeah.
so he's gone. Walker White, Auburn.
He is at Baylor.
Okay. CJ Carr's still at Notre Dame and probably going to win that job. Air Noland is at South Carolina. Ethan Grunkmeyer.
Oh, Grunk.
Grunk's still there.
I think he's Penn State's backup
he's
now.
He's a quarterback
His
in
local
waiting.
kid, right?
Prabula.
Tangi.
Nice. Jaden Davis, 4-star, signed with Michigan.
It looks like he's still at Michigan.
So he's fighting for that job. And Ryan Puglisi with Georgia.
Still at Georgia, according to 24/7.
Okay. So it's not quite as bad. 23 maybe is the outlier here.
I'll also say this. 24, 3 5-stars. 23, 7 5-star quarterbacks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, tons of them. Yeah. I mean, it's also like, I do wonder when you have, I think Tavian St. Clair is going to be an interesting case study here, because it's all 3 of our quarterbacks that you have on the roster are coming from such different circumstances in terms of how they ended up here. And they are stylistically so different in terms of the type of players they are. There's not a type here for Ryan Day. If anything, Tavian and Lincoln are probably more similar type-wise. Julian is probably more the outlier. But I do think that where they all came from is so interesting, and Tavian will be an incredible case study, because if you think about like DJ Legway, he pretty much got the keys to the kingdom right away. Like, it was Graham Mertz, but then he got hurt, right? And then Legway went in almost immediately and was pretty good by the end of last year. They had a big win against Ole Miss. And Raiola, like, there was no doubt. Like, I remember talking to guys at Nebraska that very first spring, and it's like, oh, yeah, he's the starting quarterback at Nebraska as a true freshman.
It's interesting that there's a lot of people that are really high on Florida this year because of Legway. I still don't think there's anything around him. And, Bo, real quick on the 22 class, I was wrong because I was looking into this because we talked about this week how high he was last year in draft projections for this year. Connor Wegman is not at A&M anymore. He is at Houston. So he went from first-round pick to lost his job and transferred.
Oh, that's right. Because didn't he get benched? He got benched in the Notre Dame game, didn't he? When Notre Dame beat him there, and they were looking
I don't
for
remember
something?
which game, but I do know that he was benched for a while.
Yeah. In 2025, just from a 5-star perspective, there were 4 5-star quarterbacks. Underwood was number 1. Keelan Russell out of Duncanville is at Alabama. He was number 2. Tavian St. Clair is number 3. And then Hussein Longstreet out of SC was the number 4. So there were 4 5-star quarterbacks in that class. So the management of all of that is going to be tricky. This is what I know when it comes to roster retention. Ohio State's done an expert-level job of retaining their roster and keeping their quarterbacks happy. And they have a track record now of developing players. My God, there were 3 guys drafted in this year's NFL draft who were here. They weren't first-rounders, but McCord, Quinn, and, of course, Will all were drafted in the NFL draft. So if you're Ryan Day, you say you come here and you stick around, it'll pay off. The Arch Manning circumstance, I think, is a little bit one of one, where somebody of that regard has the ability to sit and wait, in large part because of what he's able to do from an NIL perspective, right? And because of the family and because of the wealth of the family. I mean, they're kind of the one of this thing of being able to sit and wait it out. But I also think if you're Texas and you're Arch, you also look at that situation and say, I get to play for Sark. Bright, brilliant offensive mind. I think that same story can be told here at Ohio State playing for Ryan Day in this offense. So I think that there's a very easy argument to keep these guys around, and that'll probably be the one that is made by Ryan Day and the Buckeye staff. Get Paul Finebaum's thoughts on all of this, among other things, coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Don't sweat it. Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your air conditioner fast. 1-800-COOLING.
Okay, so I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Bishop and Friends present college football's most polarizing figure.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Come on back to our show, Tim. The audience hates you.
This is ESPN's Paul Finebaum, sponsored by the Roofing Guys. For all your roofing, siding, and gutter needs, contact the Roofing Guys at theroofingguys.com.
Indeed, and he joins on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline, the great Paul Finebaum, Paul Finebaum Show on ESPN. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time, doing it on a Friday. We appreciate you making time for us, my friend. where did, as we're into May now, and spring football long gone in many instances. We had a couple of northern ones who finished up last weekend. There was a lot of conversation about eliminating the spring games. Some programs kind of did. What was kind of your sense? Because what we had here is initially it was going to be an elimination of a spring game. It was going to be a showcase. And Ryan Day said, now we're going to do a game. And they had about 40,000 people there. But typically that's an 80,000, 90,000 ticket. What was kind of the response of spring football in your neck of the woods?
But it was an afterthought. The crowds were down pretty much everywhere, and we're talking about like at Ohio State, places like Georgia and Alabama that have seen 90 plus on a fairly consistent basis. It just, in some ways, it was like it didn't happen. And the spring game is, as you and I both know, is not necessarily a real indicator. Apologize for the dog. But in many ways, it at least gives fans something to wrap their arms around. And this year, they did not have that.
I'm going to need to know the name and the breed of the dog, buddy.
His name is Rocco, and he is he's a pit lab mix. He's a 5-time loser on a rescue, and I'm in the process of moving, so I have some people here, and he is quite upset about it.
Well, that's fine. He's doing his job. He's protecting Dad. I mean, that's the whole point, buddy. I got empathy for that. Let me go here, because one of the things, you're starting to see some of these way too early polls, and you're also starting to see way too early mock drafts and coming out of the NFL draft. My feeling, and I think the feeling of most of us who cover college football on a daily basis, is that Arch Manning's going to play 2 seasons at Texas. But my question to you is, when you talk to people close to that program and close to Arch, is he going to be that good? And can he possibly live up to what expectations are going to be on him?
I think it's highly unlikely that he lives up. And he is supposed to be really great. And you heard, even when he was recruited, there was a lot of conversation about the Manning discount. Had his name been Smith or Bishop, where would he have come in? But we don't know. I mean, we just got through it. We're a week away from the draft when when some people said Shedeur Sanders was a first-round pick, and we barely heard his name. So these things are always a little bit tough. But I think he will be good, and part of the reason is that he's had a lot of opportunity to be the understudy to Quinn Ewers. We can debate Quinn Ewers' decision, but it helped Arch get some confidence, get some experience, and understand exactly what Sarkisian is trying to do. And Sarkisian is not he's not a paint by numbers coach. He's very creative.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I think all of it makes sense. I've said up here, like, he's a one of one in terms of his ability to sit and wait and have patience. There's a million factors that lead into him to being able to do that. I also wonder if going to Texas allows for a little bit of insulation. When I talk to folks, I mean, Austin's a big-time city. There's a lot going on there. Obviously, Texas runs the show. It's a lot like here, honestly. But at the same time, like, it's not Tuscaloosa. It's not Knoxville. It's not Athens. And maybe he gets to live there's a lot of celebrities that live in Austin. Does he get to live a relatively normal life? Because he's going to be the face of the SEC next year. When you talk to folks who are around that program, what do they say about just his day-to-day?
I think he's adjusted very well, and you're right. I mean, Austin is a music and cultural center, and there's a lot of activity. And by the way, nobody's bigger there than McConaughey. I've been there about 4 or 5 times, and I mean, you land at the airport and McConaughey pops out of a box. He's a lot of fun, by the way. We've done a few shows, but I think Archie. And by the way, this is the guy that was famous on the day he was born. He has lived around that, and I don't claim to know him, but I do know the family, and he seems like he's entertained by the whole thing. Frankly, it's not affecting him at all. Where I've seen this in Tuscaloosa, where a guy like Bryce Young or Tunga Vailoa or Jalen Hurts, literally, I mean, you can't walk down the street. Arch kind of shakes that off, and I think he's got that Manning charm about it.
There's no doubt he does. And another thing about, and obviously they're kind of top of mind, not only because of where they're going to be ranked, because, Ohio State opens with them in the first game of the year, which I think will be number 1 versus 2. And we were trying to find an instance where number 1 versus number 2 opened the season against each other. And our crack staff of MIT interns couldn't find one, buddy. But it does speak a little bit to face of a conference and kind of all of those things. We had Kurt Bowles, who I know you know very well, who used to work at the Austin American Statesman, most recently. He's now Houston Chronicle, which is apparently all the same thing now, with a story earlier this week about a $40 million roster. When I hear that stuff, Paul, I think about what I thought last year when people talked about Ohio State's roster. Yeah, so are we to the point where we can kind of be immune to what it costs to field a football team in 2025 yet, or maybe not?
Yeah, I remember when you're helping your staff out. About 8 years ago, Alabama played Florida State in a 1 versus 3. Okay. And I don't think there has been a 1 versus 2. I hate to do your team's job.
That's all right. They're slackers.
As far as where Kirk Bowles said, we had a chance to talk to him. I don't think this will stay that way. But I was with an AD the other day, a prominent AD in the SEC, and he told me he has never seen anything like the last 2 months. And as the House settlement drags on in California, programs, especially Texas and a few others, are just literally emptying the bank out right now. Some are using Ohio State last year as their measuring stick about how to do it, but they're doubling it. And there's just I don't think the House settlement is really going to change anything, because there'll be a legal way to do it, and then there'll be the illegal ways that we both know will go on. What I am hearing more and more are fans going, I can't believe this is going on. Now, those fans are talking in the off season. If their team's winning on Saturday, they won't care.
Do you think there's any correlation between, because I get that too a lot, like I'm not going to, in the meantime, the ratings are huge and you can't get a ticket for Buckeye games. But the one thing that I am curious about is maybe if spring football was penalized by that, if there was a correlation there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is. I mean, the disconnect is real. I see it every week. I hear it. It's getting worse. But primarily from older fans, I don't think young fans care. They're so used to where we are right now. It's like we've been there 100 years, even though it's only been 3. But the 60 to 70 plus crowd is getting fed up. I don't think they're really the issue, the target anymore anyway. ESPN cares a lot more about teenagers to 30 than they do people my age.
Yeah, that's one of the casualties of getting a little bit older, is you start to not matter as much anymore. I'm starting to feel that as well.
Right.
Hey, the Kentucky Derby is this week. I've been to it. I've been to the Daytona 500 in different positions that I was in my past. Have you been to any of these one-off sporting events, and is there one that stands out more than the others?
I have been to most of them, and I think the Derby is unique. I've only been once, but there's just something about it, and I think part of it is the first Saturday in May. It's just a little more exciting than the third Sunday in February, which the Daytona 500 is, or the Super Bowl has become a zoo. The college championship, as we both know, is over the top. And, I mean, you just don't. You can get into most things other than a Super Bowl off the street. You don't just walk into the Kentucky Derby, and if you walk in, you better be dressed correctly. I mean, it's amazing, and maybe a heavyweight fight back in the day. I covered Muhammad Ali's last championship at the beginning of my career. There's nothing like the celebrities. I mean, it is completely bonkers in terms of who you will see, assuming that you're anywhere near the places that you have to be.
Now, hold on a second. Let's not bury the lead. The Derby is amazing. You covered Muhammad Ali's last championship fight?
Yeah. Yes. My first assignment right out of school he was in New Orleans, and it was overwhelming because the celebrities are all in their 90s now, by the way. But I mean, it was an A-list from Sinatra to Streisand to Stallone. I mean, it was truly off the charts just to walk around and see all these people at ringside. And that's the way prize fighting used to be. And everyone knew this was. I mean, this was the last time he won, and it was truly a remarkable night.
That's incredible. I appreciate you sharing that story, buddy. Good luck on the move. Give Rocco a nice treat. He's just doing his job, buddy. That's all he's doing is his job.
He will be here next week.
All right, Paul. Talk to you next week, buddy. Thanks for the time.
A pleasure. Thank you.
All right, there he goes. Paul Finebaum, the Paul Finebaum Show on ESPN and the SEC Network on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We hit Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on the Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Give your liver the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to newnordicusa.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Let's go to the floor with some late-breaking developments on the markets. Jim?
Up things are down, down things are up.
Sounds like things
You
are...
don't understand. Right is left, lemons are sweet, spaghetti is cold, the milk is warm.
Okay, but are you seeing anything that maybe smart-minded money people should know about?
Yeah. Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Probably one of the most stable things you can do is an Apex Pros air conditioner tune-up.
Air conditioner tune-ups, you say?
Oh yeah, Apex Pros knows most expensive summer breakdowns can be prevented by getting a tune-up now.
Yes, it's known that a tuned-up AC lowers energy bills, which is important to...
Oh, this is unbelievable.
What, big sell-off? Huge increase?
No, I spilled coffee on my new shirt. Anyway, tune-up save on energy bills, plus make your air conditioner last years longer.
Good to know Apex Pros keeps things stable and predictable.
That's on my pants, too. This is the worst day. This is historic. You know that.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Did you know even the smallest increase in mortgage rates can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your loan? Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. It's true, even a 0.25% change in rate can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your mortgage. But with Third Federal's new Early Rate Lock, you don't have to take chances. Early Rate Lock is the only pre-approval that locks in your rate at pre-approval, even before you find a house. Plus, we're so confident that our rates are the lowest, if you find a lower rate, we'll beat it or give you $1,000. And now through May 31st, get pre-approved with Third Federal and we'll pay all of your closing costs. So don't wait. Call Third Federal today.
Right now at Third Federal, even before you find a home, lock in 6.50%, APR 6.56% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restricted supply. Zero closing costs on low-cost loans only. See conditions for lowest rate guarantee at thirdfederal.com. Equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Fish has been named the third best sports program director in the country. Winner. The two dudes who finished ahead of him are dead. So we're declaring him the winner. You're listening to the home of champions, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. This month of May is a fantastic time to win at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Win a pair of tickets to the Memorial Tournament by visiting at Hollywood Columbus on social media and follow the steps for a chance to win. You've got a chance every Tuesday for second chance drawings. You can cash in on your losing wagers. 5 winners every Tuesday get $100 pen cash. Plus, all-you-can-eat ribs Tuesdays and Thursdays in May, only at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Do your good-looking shoes hurt and you don't want to wear ugly shoes? At the Good Feet store, we can help you wear your heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store.
Hey folks, Austin Ward here with an opportunity to lose 40 by the 4th. Yes, pounds, and why not? I dropped my first 40 in just 8 weeks. It was easy, and it will be easy for you too. Take the medication-free and lasting approach. Awaken180weightloss.com.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Friday. Hit it, Reese.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Alrighty, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be hosting the Indiana Pacers Sunday in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. This from the Corrections Department. So ESPN is going to have Game 6 of the Warriors-Rockets series tonight. ESPN will have Game 7 if Game 7 happens, if Houston's able to bring the series back to Houston for that Game 7. Okay. It'll probably be later, but still on ESPN, which is why you've got TNT, Turner, Max, whatever, still waiting on the game time for that. If Rockets-Warriors is going to happen with Game 7, it'll be a later tip, so Cavs-Pacers will be an earlier tip. If no Game 7, Cavs-Pacers will be later. But earlier this week, Twitter savant McNeil posted a tweet with pictures of the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse with shirts on the seats in wine and gold, wine shirts, gold print, control your dad, with the caption, Game 1 shirts for the Cavs-Pacers are sweet. And obviously, control your dad in reference to Pacers forward Tyrese Halliburton, whose father, John Halliburton, got into an on-court confrontation with Giannis Antetokounmpo following their Game 5 Tuesday. The team announced Friday that John Halliburton will not attend the team's home and road games for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I said that was the case. There's no way they were going to let him. Yeah, just go away, Dad.
The NBC...
I'm sure Tyrese feels that way, too. Kindly leave.
Yeah, don't be part of this.
Something's bigger than you, man.
The NBC affiliate and wonderful Tegna station in Indianapolis asked the Cavaliers to confirm if the Control Your Dad shirts are the giveaway for Game 1. Cavs' response, quote, no, that is not our T-shirt giveaway for fans. The official shirt giveaway for fans has been published in our Round 2 fan guide. It's a wine shirt with the phrase, we are the diff on the front. Thing or not a thing?
So McNeil's a legend. It's a great job out of him. That's an incredible T-shirt. Control Your Dad would have been pretty money. I also understand how a professional sports team can't do that as the giveaway. So good job out of him. We are the diff. Okay, it's fine. Here's what I would tell you. I think that maybe one of the more overrated things in professional sports is the free T-shirt giveaway. All of the T-shirts are usually adult XLs, so they're not fitted well at all for most of the people that are there. Obviously, I feel like XL is the average size, so that's what they go with. But I've never worn one of them that I've ever gotten, ever. I don't wear it when I'm in the arena. I don't do it. I just don't. I just don't see how the bang for the buck is there. The cost of doing the shirts versus what you're getting out of it, to me, I have a hard time seeing how that adds up.
So I think with that, they usually get a sponsor to do it, right? Sure. Like I think the T-shirts they shoot out at Nationwide Arena all have like an Ohio Health logo on them or something like that. So a sponsor takes care of it. So it's really no cost to the team. I think that's a funny thing for a fan like McNeil to do. But if the team does that, I'm not all into that. Like, I get it's fun for fans to banter about that stuff, but I don't like it when the team does it. I know the Tennessee fans came up and said Neyland North and all of that, and I think people still harping on that. I don't love that either, but it's a funny thing that he did. I just don't understand the shirt they're getting with We the Diff. I just don't. Not my thing, I guess.
I'm guessing diff short for difference.
For sure, but still.
No, Cavs famously have the scoring differential in diff on their Gigantotron, and even Warriors head coach Steve Kerr has poked fun at it before, being like, yeah, you can see the diff every time we're in Cleveland. Like, what's the difference in scoring?
What it's about.
So they're poking a little bit of fun at this. I do wonder, to your point about the free T-shirts, is it worth the time and effort to have promotions assistants put T-shirts over every chair?
I don't think so.
Is the return, it's such a cool look for teams to have where it would be laughed at when I would suggest maybe every fan that comes in, you give them a ticket, they go to a concession, they give the voucher, and then they give their T-shirt size. And then they present them with a shirt.
Well,
if you want to do a shirt giveaway that way.
Then you're going to do something you actually wear, but then that would cause them to buy in bulk all sorts of different sizes, which would probably be a mess. So to answer your question, probably not worth it. I'm going to tell you what I think is a bigger win over every seat is the version of the terrible towel. Like, that has a function to it where there's value. It looks cool on TV. Everybody can do it. You see this at NHL games when they do that with the towels. Some of those are great. To me, that is where you get your bang for your buck. And then I've got a bunch of those through the years, and a lot of those I just repurpose as dish towels or golfing towels. I'll put them in my golf bag.
Bo Single Barrel on the YouTube chat says they're just for every man's wife to sleep in.
But they're not. It's not a cotton poly.
I don't think anybody wears them.
No, it's
anybody.
like hard cotton. Like you have to wash it 15 times before. It's not like you're getting an homage shirt that's soft out of the bag.
So
I do like his handle though.
ESPN, a bunch of other places had the news Thursday that the Rangers were in contract talks to make Mike Sullivan their next head coach. That was made official today. It's a 2-year deal that's expected to be one of the richest coaching contracts in NHL history. Sullivan coached the Penguins for 10 seasons. He won back-to-back cups in 16 and 17. They missed the playoffs the last 3 seasons. ESPN's reporting also adds that John Tortorella is going to rejoin the Rangers organization. Sullivan was an assistant under Tortorella, and they both were on Team USA for the Four Nations. Sullivan was an assistant under Tortorella again in New York from 2009 to 2013. Tortorella's role has not yet been announced. Thing or not a thing?
I'm going to lean on Pierre Lebecq on this. You tell me.
So this was a thing that has been reported for a while. As soon as Peter Laviolette was fired by the Rangers, they said if Mike Sullivan would become available, that he would be their top choice. They've worked on this quick, the richest contract ever for an NHL head coach here. I think 5 years, $35 million. So $7 million a year for him. And when I saw the reporting or the rumors that John Tortorella would possibly be joining the organization, the way I took it was that he would be joining the front office somehow and not joining the staff. And there's a guy in the building here that's still pretty close with Torts, and I'm guessing that is correct. Tortorella will not be on staff. He's going to be somehow in the front office with the organization.
Okay. What is going to happen to the Penguins? So they missed the postseason the last 3 years.
I hope they go 10 more years without a postseason appearance.
It's pretty wild, though. They're kind of in that Kobe Lakers spot where they were in, where it was just kind of, and Sid's still great. Sullivan won his first 2 years in Pitt. They won it back to back. And then lost in the second round, lost in the first round, lost in the qualifying round, lost in the first round, lost in the first round. So they have not been to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs since 2018. That is 7 seasons.
Kyle Dubas, who I believe was just his first year as a GM there, maybe second. He's got a lot of work and tough decisions to do. It does sound like maybe Dan Quinn, who was there on Sullivan's staff, and I believe was head coach for the Rangers before, might be the guy that's going to get bumped up there as the head coach. But yeah, they've got a lot of they've given away over the years, chasing cups with Sid and Malkin and the gang. They've given away a lot of draft picks, and they don't have a lot in the pipeline.
No, it's the end of it's going to be tough. And remember, they were almost as a franchise gone until Lemieux bought them and came back to play for them.
The Kansas City Penguins.
Yeah, and then they went like Lemieux to Crosby. Like, jeez. Pretty easy to be a fan.
Our friends over at Awful Announcing have curated some ice-cold J.J. Redick first take NBA takes in light of the Lakers flaming out in the first round of the NBA playoffs. We saw before their Game 5 loss where he just rage quit the pregame press conference. Then the Lakers get eliminated. Then he's telling his team like they're out of shape except for a couple of guys, and that couple of guys we probably just think is LeBron James. But here's Charles Barkley and Shaq reacting to J.J. Redick's rage quit comments.
Dude, he just is a little sensitive now. Listen, one of the things that people say they never watch television, we all lie. All jocks watch television. And he's been getting criticized the last 48 hours for playing those guys. And he's just sensitive. Just say, hey, you know what? If I had everybody's afraid to say I was wrong. All he had to do is say, hey, you know what? I shouldn't have played those guys the whole second half. And that's it. Then it would have been over.
As a coach, as a player, you rather die with your decision. Is he inexperienced? Yes, he made a decision. Some say it was wrong. He thought it was right. Doesn't matter. What matters is if you don't win this game tonight,
that's what matters.
That's all that matters.
I agree with Shaq on that.
Thing or not a thing?
Yeah, I think JJ showed, and Windhorst had a pretty good takedown of it, and I think he's right. I just think he showed his immaturity, and he's from a generation. He's not that much older. I mean, he's probably younger than LeBron, so he's around KD's age. He's of that generation where they grew up reading and seeing everything. Remember, he was a podcast guy before he got hired. Like, him and LeBron would sip expensive wine and talk about strategery. So, yeah, I think it definitely checks boxes that everything Chuck said is dead on. And I do think this. I say this to young radio people all the time. One of the things I had to learn when I first got on air here. It's okay to be wrong. Own it. I didn't have it.
I'm wrong all the time.
We have it. We have. That's why when we do Weekend Blitz or we do Buckeye Blitz or NFL Blitz, whatever, any of those segments, one of the topics in that segment is I didn't have that, because you're not going to get everything right. It's amazing how much grace you get if you just acknowledge being wrong a little bit.
It's so true, and I believe we talked about this yesterday. Usually when somebody gets real defensive like that, it's out of a guilty conscience because what they're getting defensive over was right. He made a bad call here. And like you said, hey, I messed up. Let's move on to the next game. Hopefully we'll win the next one.
JJ, 6 months senior than LeBron James.
6 months older. Okay, so he was probably in the McDonald's All-American game right before LeBron.
Yeah.
He's the best shooter I've ever seen in person. I mean, he was unbelievable when he was at Duke. Final hour of the week coming up next. What we learned kicks it off. Doug Lesmerice at 11:30. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Buckeye games have been airing on WBNS since before you were born and before your parents were born and before Abraham Lincoln was born. Trust me. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that, and often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym could be due to low testosterone, and that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and even if you're in your 30s or if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, and your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make a change for the good. And for a limited time, new patients will get their initial appointment free, which includes blood work and a medical consult, because we believe low T treatments could have an incredible impact on your life. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. At Giant Eagle, we combine exceptional customer service and quality foods, all at great value to make the most of your shopping trip. Visit Giant Eagle or Market District today to see how easy it is to save.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, 3-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, 2-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to lifesearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit lifesearch.com today.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard. Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The 151st running of the Kentucky Derby is tomorrow around 7 o'clock. Official post time is 6:57 Eastern. Journalism is the betting favorite. Controversial horse trainer Bob Baffert returns from a 3-year doping ban. His horse Citizen Bull is a 20-1 favorite. Baffert had another horse, Rodriguez, who was a 12-1 favorite, but that horse was taken off this morning. In the NBA tonight, the Warriors host the Rockets in Game 6 of their first-round playoff series. Golden State leads 3-2. Houston can host Game 7 on Sunday with a win tonight. That series is holding up the start time for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between the Cavs and the Pacers. Cleveland's going to host on Sunday, but the time's still TBD, as is Darius Garland, who missed the last 2 games of the first round with a sprained big left toe. And in baseball, the Reds host the Nationals tonight at 6:10. The Guardians are at the Blue Jays Friday at 7 o'clock. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
So Citizen Bull is coming out of the one post.
Oh, that's never great.
Brutal.
Also, the update anchor made it sound like Rodriguez died. He's not. He just got scratched this morning.
I think there's quite a bit of beef between, because Baffert took 2 horses and the owners were different and there wasn't a lot of excitement about it. So I think that I don't know if that played into it or not, but the fact he was scratched this morning, a lot of people like that Rodriguez horse. So Citizen Bull is in the 1. That's a tough spot. They're 20-1. That's tough to come out. So your favorite is in the 8, but the favorite almost never wins the Kentucky Derby. You almost never see that happen. I'm just pulling it up right now to see if there's anybody else in the mix.
Sovereignty at 5-1 in the 18 spot, and Sandman 6-1 in the 17th position.
Yeah, 17 is better. What was the other one you said?
Sovereignty at 18.
Sovereignty at 18.
He's 5-1.
Beza is at 12-1. Yeah, it's usually. I mean, it's such a circus of a race that if you can somehow get into it. Admire Daytona. That's one of those Japanese horses that came over. That's 30-1. That one's got a little bit of interest to me. I like, you get into. That's the thing about the Derby. You hit on an exacta box. You hit on one of these, the payoffs can be massive because these odds get so long. They did get the one horse. There was one that won the Derby as a 99-1. Do you remember this one? and they stopped doing it. They're like, we're not doing that anymore because there was one that won the Derby in the last decade that it went off on one of the longest odds ever baked. Do you do you remember this?
Let me look it up. It was just a couple years ago. The horse was 80-1. 80 to 1 to win the Derby, and
they're not
won
doing
the
that
whole
anymore.
thing.
The longest odds for tomorrow's Derby are 30-1. You don't have 80-1, 50-1. That's done because of the payout was just way too big.
So it was in 2022. Rich Strike was a last-minute addition to the field and won at 80-1. Mystic Dan,
there you go,
was 18-1 the next year and won. But yeah, like that next year, Bo, I remember like the longest odds were 40-1, I think, for a horse to win after Rich Strike.
Yeah, you can't do it, man. I mean, the payout is outrageous to be able to do it. The last Derby favorite, I was curious what the last Kentucky Derby favorite to win was. And this is riveting radio as I'm Googling this. We'll get the MIT kids on it and see it doesn't happen often. Almost never for the Derby favorite to win the Kentucky Derby. All right, let's see what we learned this week, fellas. Hit it.
Bishop and Friends. We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
Well, a great many things. We learned 100 men versus a gorilla this week, and that most experts favored the gorilla. We thank NBC for that, as he was all over that on Monday morning with that question on the silent ride to school. We learned from our coyote expert, Stan Garrett, that they will socialize with dogs and will be their buddies, which leads me to this email from Joe. The subject was coyote. I'm a longtime listener and love your show the best. Well, thank you, Joe. I want to tell you about the PBS Nature show they had a couple of years ago about coyotes and wolves. It is very interesting and hope you can get Stan back on the show. You can watch the show on YouTube, so hope to hear from you. Yeah, I'm in. I've seen both in the wild. Their behaviors are quite different in terms of my experiences with them. But I've had a lot of people reach out with their coyote experiences through the years. And it is also responsible. One thing else we learned is we have on the X platform, I see you guys changed the logo from the caricature of me to my live response to when Stan said that they often will go to grave sites. And I thought, are we dealing with vampire grave digging coyotes in Chicago?
Digging up your dinner.
Belichick had a week too. Belichick had a week, man. That was everywhere. Everybody's taking the low-hanging fruit on that one.
Not talking about this.
Jeez.
The idea that, like, then she went on social media and just, like, started reposting supporters and then had an email sent, like, it's how to not handle a crisis 101.
Wait a second. Are you suggesting that a 20-year-old cosmetology
She's 24,
student
easy,
at the time of acquisition was a 20-year-old cosmetology student who you met on a plane would not somehow have the handle on how to navigate the very, very tricky media landscape of 2025? Is that what you're suggesting, Reese?
It might be. Also, her mom, Jordan Hudson's mom, owns a museum dedicated to sex toys.
I think that's right. That's the reporting. And yeah, I did. This is the beauty of this job. When I went to bed Sunday night, I would not have had on the bingo card the things that would have the most discussion this week being 100 men versus a gorilla, Bill Belichick, CBS Sunday Morning interview fallout, or Coyote Gate 2.0. I would not have had those things being the things that dominate the week. But you never know. It's a box of chocolates, buddy. You never know what you're going to get.
I just wonder, like, what, because North Carolina issued a statement defending Bill.
What are they going to do?
Somebody that she had to have written on behalf of Bill, but the fact that, like, North Carolina football's got to step in, because the interview wasn't even about UNC football.
He's wearing a Navy crew from, like, 1962.
With a giant hole near the neck.
Yeah.
Like, it's typical Belichick stuff where it's just tattered old clothing, But the idea that he's like, because you look at other college football coaches, like Ryan Day is everywhere, but he's got Ohio State stuff. He's representing Ohio State. Bill's trying to pimp a book. His first off season in Chapel Hill. So if you're a booster who likely cut a check or two for this acquisition, what the hell are you thinking?
I think
just being talked about, is that enough? Like any publicity is good for us?
Rubio was making the rounds this week, taking credit for making it work, and I'm like, I don't know that you want to say that out loud. Like, he was saying that he was part of the reason Belichick's at North Carolina. Like, why? I don't know that you'd want to admit to that. I think this is going to fail spectacularly. Before all of this stuff with the girlfriend, we were mocking for the and look, you have to have full respect. This is a 6-time Super Bowl champion, but it didn't go well once Tom Brady left him. It didn't go particularly well before Tom Brady got to him. So I think Brady's kind of won that conversation of who is the more valuable Patriot. Tom Brady's won that by a wide margin. Furthermore, before any of that, though, took place with the events of the last week or so and the absurdity of all of this, their naivete to what they were signing up for was stunning. How they acted like no one was already doing everything that they were saying was going to be revolutionary. None of it was revolutionary. None of it. The other thing I think we learned this week, in terms of actual sports, and it had to do with Shedeur Sanders, is that there is an incredible disconnect between the people who watch film and grade prospects and NFL teams meeting prospects. That gulf is really big. And so that's what led to the surprise that he dropped the way that he did. I went through every mock draft, every player ranking in the lead up to the draft. The lowest I saw anybody having him was like 34, 32 in that area. Some people had him in the top 10, but he was universally either a first round or early second round talent. But what those folks didn't have access to is the meetings that he was doing with teams. And it'd be interesting next week, so they have rookie minicamp up in Cleveland next week. How does he kind of answer for that? My guess is he'll say, that's behind us now. I'm here to compete and all of those things. But that disconnect is something that played out on the television coverage of the draft last weekend that for a lot of fans, I think it was hard for them to kind of wrap their heads around what was going on. And I think that's why it happened.
Bo, what I just learned is that the Kentucky Derby favorite only wins 35% of the time. They finish in the top 3 63% of the time.
Okay.
And we have not had a favorite win since 2018 in Justify, and that was the last of 6 straight favorites that won from 2013 to 2018.
Really? 6 straight years the favorite won. And Justify won the Triple Crown, right?
Correct.
Justify and American Pharoah both won the Triple Crown because we had gone forever.
That was 2015 and then 2018.
We went from like Seattle Slew in the late 70s to American Pharoah without a Triple Crown winner. So that's something to be paying attention to a little bit there. All right, coming up next, sports are winning in a very, very big way. We will explain that. Doug Lesmeries coming up in 17 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
Ma, the meatloaf!
The Fan.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Hey,
what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. May is officially here, and so are the rising temperatures. Before you know it, you're going to be wondering what else you can do to keep cool during the dog days of summer. Beat the heat and keep the AC in your home with Window Nation's energy-efficient vinyl windows. During their semi-annual sale, you'll get 60% off and a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. Plus, no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until 2027. That's a whole lot of savings and a super smart investment, especially when prices are rising. So how exactly does Window Nation keep the prices affordable? Well, they work directly with top window manufacturers in the country, which means all their windows are assembled right here in the USA. Plus, their windows come with a lifetime warranty, so you'll keep saving long into the future. Window Nation's semi-annual sale ends soon, so don't miss your chance to get 60% off. Plus, a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. And you pay nothing until 2027. Schedule your estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, as Care grew over the years, you had many opportunities to sell Care to one of the big conglomerates that are buying companies all over Central Ohio. So tell our customers why you decided to keep Care in the family.
After talking about Care's values for over 30 years, I couldn't bear the thought of Care becoming the kind of company I was warning our customers about. I know the two of you will continue to treat our customers as I would, with honesty and integrity.
We will, Dad. In 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
Every Ohio student, no matter where they're from, what they look like, or how much money their parents make, deserves a world-class public education that empowers them to reach their full potential. That's why we need our lawmakers to fully and fairly fund our public schools in this state budget. Call your state senator today.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at scattered showers and storms this afternoon. A few could be gusty, so stay weather aware, but a bigger chance for severe weather comes this evening into tonight with a line of storms likely to bring with it widespread chances for damaging wind. 10 TV weather impact alert day will be in place. Temperatures will go from the 70s this afternoon to 60s with rain tomorrow. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here at The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan. Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
Well, if you're like me, you're certainly sick and tired of those long security lines, the flight delays. It feels like every time we get on a flight, it is delayed. And I know you say, well, it feels like it because it is. I mean, that's basically what happens. Well, here's what you can do to take matters into your own hands. You can travel on your terms. You can go RVing and get ready to save at RCD's RVs Open House. It starts tomorrow through the 10th. Take advantage. Huge deals. New pre-owned RVs. The Delaware Heath Patasko locations feature exclusive sale pricing on all new and pre-owned travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes. Special financing rates are available, plus discounts on camping accessories. Come in today. Tomorrow it starts. Road ready by Memorial Day when you do. Find unbeatable savings, unforgettable fun, and everything you need to hit the road at RCD RV. Perfect day to do it. Going to be dodge and rain all weekend long. Swing by, take a look. You're in the market. It's time to take advantage of all of that. All right, Reese, explain to me the front office sports story and how sports is the big winner.
Well, everybody's competing for live sports now.
Yep.
And every time you do something live sports, it crushes everything else on television.
Yeah.
And so it was I forget who had the ratings exactly, but of like the last 100 things on television, the last 100 programs, or the top 100 rated programs of the last year, like 95 of them were NFL games.
Yeah, this is what the money's for. This is how you get into the spot where you're playing the way that Jake Diebler was a lot this year on Peacock and playing at 9 o'clock at night on a Tuesday. I mean, this is how it happened because it's kind of the last thing, as there's been this mad scramble to create content so that I think we probably can call this, and we're seeing it not just in sports, but you're seeing it with your NIL. You see it at the car wash, right? There's the Netflix model. So this model is pretty simple. Sign up for service, sign up for a monthly fee for said service, and then just keep paying it forever.
Yep.
That's kind of it. I mean, the amount of things, there are times when I'll open one of my credit card statements and I'll look at it, I'm like, now what is that for? What in the hell is that for? And there was one of these, I don't know how I missed this, but I missed this for like 6 years on my credit card statement. It was a relatively small fee. It was like $9.99 a month. And it was for when NBC was a baby, and it was right before we had Beamsy. My wife was looking for like a nanny situation where they could come in and because she was on bed rest and she needed a little help. So she signed up for some sort of a childcare app and used my credit card for it and never canceled it. And it went like 8 years at $9.99 a month on this thing. So right now, if you were to ask me what entertainment apps are you signed up for, I'm pretty sure all of them. I don't know that there's one that I'm not. And yes, I still get cable. We just like lighting money on fire around here, apparently. But it's almost too much of a pain in the neck to cancel. I had an AMC app at one point because I was rewatching Mad Men. I couldn't even figure out how to cancel it. I tried. I was on the app. I was on the website. I couldn't. I inevitably had to call my credit card and say, like, please stop this. Because I had watched Mad Men, I'd seen Breaking Bad all the way through. I didn't need to watch anything else on AMC, and that was inevitably how I was able to cancel it. So what sports is trying to do, well, not what sports is trying to do, what those companies are trying to do is use sports as the reason to keep the app. And you're going to see more and more of this. This dovetails into the conversation I was having earlier, the Ted Cruz panel on Capitol Hill about, hey, we got to make sure people can see these. Well, do you? Because they're using sports to prop up all these apps. And I'd wondered,
just how much of our audience is interested in just how these things get measured and how they get reported. Because every time we go through a new season, whether it's NFL or college football, the numbers go up. So Nielsen is, since forever, Nielsen's like the Coke of measuring audience engagement and measuring total audiences for events. And they're trying to, what they claim is to modernize how they get an accurate measuring of who's watching what. So they got accreditation for something called big data plus panel measurement.
Okay.
And so what that's going to roll out is a way for Nielsen now to combine all the streamers, because I think we've also talked about like Amazon, they kind of fudge the numbers. Netflix kind of fudges the numbers because it's just from them.
Yeah.
So what Nielsen's trying to do, and what they've been given the green light to do, is to take the numbers from those streamers, add them to your rabbit ears, add them to your antennas, add them to your cable boxes to give you what they think and what they claim is a more accurate telling of who's watching what. And it'll probably, because they monkeyed with our clock, Nielsen did, and how our ratings get measured. And what this will likely do is it'll bump these numbers up because it'll show more from everywhere.
It's a pretty amazing thing, right? That with sports, and I think in this article it says that 70 of the top 100 broadcasts over the past year were NFL games alone, not just sports. NFL games. Then you throw in like the college football playoffs and all of that and everything. And it's just ridiculous. But, Bo, you're right. Like, we may not like it that the Big Ten is in bed with Peacock and they're putting these games on there, and that the NFL now has games on Netflix and whatnot. But we saw the Netflix NFL games, the numbers were through the roof, and it doesn't matter where they put the sports. We're going to go there because we want to watch them. And now that they're going to be able to combine all these numbers, they're saying that the sports numbers are going to be even greater.
Here's the other thing about sports. Everything you said is true. I just would add one tag sentence to it. You can't DVR it. You can't DVR sports. Not that you care about. It'll get ruined. You can hit pause on something and leave and throw your phone away. But you have to. There's no chance, Bake, as you watch every Blue Jackets game, there is no chance that you could DVR a Blue Jackets game and then hope for it not to be ruined by somebody that you're in contact with if you tried to watch it and still be on your phone. There's no way.
So, Bo, I will say this, and I have not had a DVR for probably 2 years now, maybe longer. Actually, it's longer than that. But I would DVR Blue Jackets games, and I would I would literally turn off all my notifications of any sports apps on my phone. I wouldn't answer a text from certain people because I knew it might be about the game. I wouldn't even look at it. I would basically become a hermit and put myself in seclusion until I finished watching that game. But I am a weirdo. Like, I'm ridiculous.
But that's what you have to do.
Yes. No radio, no TV, nothing.
You have to go zero dark, Baker.
You do. That's the only way. That's the only way on live sports. We used to say a long time ago, Game of Thrones and sports you care about are the only two things you can't DVR. And Game of Thrones can be a stand-in for any show that airs weekly that becomes a water cooler show. Like Yellowstone was this for a while. I don't know what the water cooler show is. White Lotus was that. Like they had that juice, this season of White Lotus, where it felt like everyone was kind of watching it together. Anything on Netflix, when they still do their thing, where they drop a whole season, you don't have that. Like I was looking at the streaming numbers this week for shows, like something called Ransom Canyon was like the number one thing on Netflix. And it's like the guy who was the lead in Las Vegas and Minka Kelly were like the leads in it, and it's like feels to me like kind of a Yellowstone knockoff soap opera thing. That was like the number one thing streaming on Netflix.
Was that Josh Duhamel?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
I remember some Las Vegas.
Yeah, and Lila Garrity. Well, Las Vegas, I mean, they knew what they were doing on that show.
Goodness. Nikki Cox. How was she married to Bobcat? That doesn't make any sense.
Dude. What have we learned this week? We just did the segment. What did we learn? Bake, influence, wealth. Nikki Cox in her prime. Then she married Jay Moore, I think, who is now dating Jeannie Buss.
Goodness.
It all comes full circle. And they live in an apartment where she lives on the top floor. He lives on the second floor. But they're married. So there you go.
I mean, maybe that's the way.
You didn't think you're going to get that on a Friday here, kids. One thing you did think you're going to get, and you're lucky to, and we all are, is a conversation with our good buddy Doug Lesmeries. He'll join in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
Did you ask about Pick 3 from the Ohio Lottery? Okay. Pick 3 is a daily draw game where you pick 3 individual numbers between 0 and 9 that can be played straight, where numbers must be drawn in an exact order or boxed where they can be drawn in any order. You can win hundreds, and wagers start at only 50 cents. Want to learn more? Okay, go to OhioLottery.com or the Ohio Lottery app. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The friends are the guests and listeners. Reeser and Baker just work here.
Back to work. Back to work. Everybody, work, 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 work.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
11:30 on a Friday. This is the time we like to talk to our good buddy Doug Lesmeries, Kings of the North, on the podcast side of things on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. I believe now all of the Northern spring footballs are over. Correct?
Washington tonight.
Washington is going a Friday night.
They go, and they're blowing it out. They're trying to get as many people as possible. So, yeah, they always go really late. BYU was done in March, and Washington's done in May. So to each their own, man. But, yeah, no, Jed Fish is trying to get everybody riled up. They're going to be pretty good this year. They're getting everybody riled up.
Let me ask you this. Because you mentioned how they're trying to get the big crowd there. Everybody tried to do that, and it didn't work. The audience pushed across the board, not just in the North and the South, everywhere. There wasn't the spring attendance that we're used to. Is there a correlation with anything there? What do you attribute that to?
Well, the talk at the start of spring football was how spring games are dead. Mm-hmm. The talk was we can't do a spring game. We have to hide our players so they don't get stolen. And as Bill Landis pointed out on our show this week, Ohio State wound up playing a spring game when they sort of said they weren't going to play a spring game. And then guess how many of their players got stolen? None.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I actually think it was kind of weird that the sport, led by Matt Rule at Nebraska, but then Ryan Day and a bunch of people in the SEC kind of followed suit in the way they talked about it. Like, yeah, man, we can't do what we used to do. And then they kind of did do what they used to do, but I think they already scared the fans off. So now I wonder next year if they just say, no, it's normal. It's a spring game. Maybe the people will come back. I love spring games. I think it's great for fans. It should be a festival and a celebration of your team. So I don't think it has to die, but I thought it was just a weird spring all around where like the panic talk did not lead to as much panic action, but people still stayed away.
I think it's so odd that Matt Rule was the one everybody started to follow. That's what I thought was odd. And then they all tried to save it. They tried to save it here. They were quick to say, no, we're doing a spring game. Then honestly, Doug, they put on probably the best spring game that we've had around here in maybe a decade. I mean, they threw it 61 times. Like all the quarterbacks played a lot. It was kind of everything that you'd want out of a spring game. You hit it. It's a festival. Like it was like change for change's sake to make a point and rail against NIL and free transfer, but it just fell so flat around the country.
Yeah, and I think, this is still every time you and I talk, it's like, hey, the sport's in transition, and it's always in transition. But the House settlement, we're this year going to have the rev sharing for the first time. Where we are a year from now is going to be very different. We know Ross Bjork, the Ohio State AD, came out and said, how about like a one-time spring transfer window? I think there's just a lot of things that can happen still that I hope next spring we can have good spring games again, but I think there might be 3 different ways in which college football is significantly different 8 months from now, which might lead us to completely different conclusions.
You think you're going to get to a point where Deion Sanders gets what he wants, which is an actual opponent in the spring game?
Yeah, because when the NCAA ruled on that, they basically said, A, it wouldn't be fair for you guys to do it when nobody else is doing it, and B, you asked too late. They didn't say there wasn't like a fundamental, no, this doesn't make sense to have teams play each other. It was mostly timing, and we have to give other people opportunities. So, like, if you want to go there and maybe Some schools will do Syracuse, Colorado. Maybe here it's Ohio State welcoming a couple MAC schools down to do something like that. You're opening some things there that I think could get very interesting because, as we know, football, the NFL has shown the way. It's a 365-day sport now.
Yeah.
So does college football want to give up the spring and want to tell people the spring doesn't matter? Or does college football want to say, no, this really matters? And then you get TV networks even more involved. Maybe you get a little more money for that. I do think that's very possible. And I think people like Deion Sanders and maybe other people, Ryan Day's kind of pushed for this. Ryan Day likes the idea of NFL exhibition games, right?
Yeah.
So I do think we will get there in the next couple of years with a little more of an organized plan than a last-minute request from Deion this time.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. And I see it with the Browns. Those joint practices are more valuable than the preseason games, and they're able to manage it where guys don't get hurt. I see no scenario where you could not do that at the college level as well. And I think teams would get a lot out of it. Let's remember here, and I think sometimes we forget about this. It's all entertainment dollars. It's all entertainment time. That's all any of this is. It's television shows. It's things to talk about here on your podcast. That's what this business is. And so anything that keeps talking about it is a win. On the field, what are a couple of things you took away? Let's just stay in our region, the Big Ten region, and potentially add Notre Dame. Was there anything that happened this spring that surprised you?
Penn State does seem aggressive in the portal, and we had talked about that on their show. There's three things in the portal. Sometimes you completely rebuild your team, which people get excited about, but actually can seem a little desperate, so maybe you don't want to do that. You can be very strategic where your weaknesses are. Hey, we're like Penn State with receivers. Hey, Penn State needs receiver help. But then also you can do what Ohio State did last year, which is hey, we're just open to getting better wherever a guy might be available. And that actually is the winning strategy. Not desperation, not overhaul, but willing to upgrade anywhere. And we said that's what James Franklin and Penn State need to adopt, and they're doing that. So, they got Trevor Pena as a slot receiver who has a chance, I think, to, from Syracuse, be a huge addition for them. But they also, Mohamed Touré, a linebacker from Rutgers, is visiting there. That could be a huge addition for them. And so for all the guys they brought back, I think they're fortifying in a very interesting way that seems kind of aggressive. So again, I think the Penn State stuff is real. So I think people have to be aware of that. And then I just think there were a couple, spring quarterbacks. CJ Carr at Notre Dame, I think is probably the headliner of that. Julian Sayin at Ohio State is hey, we keep saying Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon in that same thing. They lose Dylan Gabriel, Riley Leonard, and Will Howard as one-year veteran transfers at quarterback. They're all going young. So how did Julian Sayin, Dante Moore at Oregon, and C.J. Carr look? I think all those schools are in pretty good shape right now.
Doug, I got to tell you, I do an email segment on every Thursday at 10 o'clock, and one of the emails this week was titled Doug Lesmerice.
Oh, no.
No, it was from a Penn State alumnus who listens regularly, and was the gist of the email was, I'll be damned if I'm going to get my hopes up. We're never going to win anything with James Franklin. That was kind of was the extent of it. It does feel like there's a couple of teams out there, and I think Penn State's one of them up here, and I think Texas is doing it in the South, where they kind of looked at that Ohio State blueprint and say, hey, let's make a run right now. This is the time.
And Ohio State knows it. Ohio State knows exactly what they laid out. And so listen, there was a time when failure in big games was referred to across college football as Clemsoning, right?
Yep.
Remember when it was Dabo, Clemson, they're fake good. They can't get over the top. And then they won 2 national championships. And that was almost a decade into Dabo's career at Clemson. So that's where James Franklin is. And Jim Harbaugh was in a very similar spot. Whatever you think about their assistants Michigan had there, they won a national championship after a lot of people had reached the point of Harbaugh's not going to get over the top. And then they went 15-0 and had the best season in Michigan history. That's where James Franklin is. So that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I would tell people it doesn't mean it can't happen.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that a coach who has been good, very good for a decade, but has lost the big games, there is some history of those guys then winning the big games. So you also might be Mark Richt at Georgia, where you were good, but you needed somebody else like Kirby Smart to come in and take you to the next level. So I understand it from Penn State fans. I also try to say to Penn State fans, enjoy your team. Making the semifinal last year is kind of a cool thing. I hope you had fun. Mm-hmm. But also, they're lining up the Ducks as the best they can to make their best run. And Ohio State did not beat Michigan last year and won the national title.
Yeah.
Penn State does not have to beat Ohio State this year to win the national title, right? And that's their bugaboo. James Franklin's beaten Ohio State once. That's worse than Ryan Day against Michigan, right? Once. But they don't even have to do it, right? You can lose to Ohio State and then be the 5 seed, and then maybe Ohio State gets knocked off by somebody else, and all of a sudden Penn State's the national champion. So I get it, but I'm also trying to, Penn State's doing a lot of things that teams who win national championships do this time of the year.
If you had to pick one Big Ten coach to coordinate 100 men versus a gorilla,
no doubt about it.
Who you got?
No doubt about it. Do you know who I'm going to say?
I do. I think I do.
Brett Bielema.
I was between him and Fick because I was going Fick with the heavyweight wrestler. You know, he could have strategery.
He's too nice. He's too nice.
Too nice.
Especially if you told Brett Bielema that it was an SEC gorilla. You know, he's like, let's go shove that gorilla in a trash can. I'm sick of it. If you put a Shane Beamer polo on the gorilla and said, let's go do this thing, I'm lining up behind Bert. Let's go do this. And he would love it. He would want to be the general of the 100-man gorilla crew. I mean, get him on the show tomorrow, and he will tell you he will take that job.
One of my biggest, if I could go back just from for what we do, we're content guys, we're fans of interesting. If I could have had him just stay at Wisconsin, that would be way up the list. Just stay there, keep doing it. Just be Barry Alvarez 2.0. Be satisfied. Living in Madison's a great town. The money's good. I think that because he was such a fun adversary, and I don't know. I know he's got a nice team this year. I just don't know I think the ceiling is relatively low at Illinois. So I just don't know what all he can get done. Him at Wisconsin. When Bo Ryan was with basketball and he was on football, it was so much fun.
And the thorn in the sides for Ohio State. How much Ohio State fans hated Bo Ryan and Brett Bielema, but the games they would play against each other. And again, it's not like Brett Bielema beat Ohio State a million times, but they had the big win, and then that was great. That was in the time when it was okay, Ohio State, Michigan, yeah, I guess, but who's Ohio State's real rival in the Big Ten? It's Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Ohio State people hate Wisconsin. So Illinois has got a lot of NFL players. They have a good offensive line. They have a veteran quarterback. They have a chance to be pretty good this year. I'm super curious about that. But I'm glad he's back because I remember asking Urban Meyer after he left, do you miss Brett Bielema? And getting a sly smile because it's I missed him. To your point, he's interesting. I don't know if you want 18 Brett Bielemas coaching in the Big Ten, but by God, you definitely want one.
No, and Wisconsin was the perfect place for him. It was the perfect place because you can get Heisman winners and you can do that stuff. It was the perfect spot. It's just a shame it didn't stick, but we'll see what he can do at Illinois this year. Appreciate you as always, my friend. Thank you so much for the time.
I'll see you. Thanks.
All right, there he goes. Doug Lesmeries, Kings of the North, on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Get you 3 things on a Friday. Up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on the Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same Game Parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, three-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, two-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to LifeSearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit LifeSearch.com today.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
Two men, one is very white, fat, and bald. The other is not very white at all. Delightfully husky and getting bald. They have a radio show. It's good. T-Bone and Titus.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 starting May 12th.
The Fan.
Get your air conditioner fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling. 1-800-COOLING.
Hi, this is Ron from the Good Feet store. Are you standing on painful feet all day? Don't lose hope. We want to help you live without pain. Discover your options and visit goodfeet.com. Or stop in today at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway in Grove City.
Before you start your day, UDF has already started making your breakfast right in our bakery. We've got buttery, flaky croissants baked before the crack of dawn. We're making fluffy buttermilk biscuits from scratch by the time the sun starts to think about rising. And before you hit your first alarm, we've piled our biscuits and croissants high with sausage, egg, and cheese right in store. So come in and grab a fresh one and let us make you a morning person. Fresh baked breakfast sandwiches from United Dairy Farmers. UDF, mornings made for you.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution Specialists.
The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
Hi, Reese. What do we have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan Poll is sponsored by Caster Connection. It asks, when's the last time you bought a sports jersey for yourself? Options are in the past year, in the past 5 years, in the past 30 years, never. 37% say they bought a jersey for themselves in the past 5 years. 29% say they bought a jersey for themselves in the past 30 years. 20% say they've never purchased a jersey for themselves. And 13% say they've purchased a jersey for themselves in the past year.
Was 19... I'd say it was probably like 94 or 5. I bought a Jerry Stackhouse, North Carolina jersey. I didn't particularly love North Carolina all that much, but the uniform was beautiful, and the idea of a guard wearing number 42 was kind of cool. So I was in high school, but I don't remember exactly the year. That's the last one that I purchased for myself.
So would this be like an actual player's jersey, or is this like a jersey that you personalize yourself? Or?
Either one. I think it could be either one.
So probably about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, I bought me and my 2 best friends and my one best friend's dad Blue Jackets jerseys. They were different, though. They're gray with black and red. And I got them personalized for all of us. It was like a gift for all of us. And I had myself included. The time before that I bought myself a jersey, it would have had to been like an Ohio State jersey back in the early 2000s. I bought one with a number 2 on it because I always wore 2 or 21. Mm-hmm. So that's like I don't buy like player jerseys anymore. I just buy jerseys with those numbers on them. And I couldn't tell you the last time I actually bought a player's jersey.
Reese?
I've never purchased a jersey for myself.
Even as a kid?
Even as a kid. Well, I had them as they were gifts.
Gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember for the longest time, I just had a Scarlet 7 for Ohio State. So that it's still hanging up in my closet. Like that tracked forever.
That always works.
It's got the gray on the sleeve, so I'm like, this is cool.
All right, time for 3 things on a Friday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Buckeye Lake Marina, Central Ohio's largest selection of new and pre-owned boats. Find your next dream boat at BuckeyeLakeMarina.com.
Wasn't intending to go here, but should pass this news along. Number 1 for me, Sham Charania reporting that Greg Popovich will no longer be the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. He's going to be team president. Popovich is a basketball Hall of Famer, the NBA's all-time winningest coach, and led the Spurs to 5 championships. That will be a coveted job.
Especially if they land Giannis.
Yeah.
Or Kevin Durant, I guess, because ESPN wants Giannis to go to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Sure, of course. You can see Durant in San Antonio, though. I mean, he's an Austin guy like that. I mean, he's not from Austin, but he had the 1 year there, which was good.
This, I thought was interesting. I didn't know they're still making or trying to make Grand Theft Auto games, but this crushed my timeline this morning that Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed until May 26th of 2026. Like, I think I bought and played Grand Theft Auto 4. There was a Grand Theft Auto 5, but this thing had been in development since like 2018.
Where's it at? What's the premise?
I think they're doing a Miami Vice theme again. Like they're going to be in Miami and Florida is what I was reading.
Yeah.
But that's nuts.
Guys aren't into that yet, but it's a matter of time.
It's coming.
NBC, yeah.
First thing for me, congratulations to Columbus Blue Jackets forward Sean Monahan. This morning, he was named one of 3 finalists for the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy. That gets given to the player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. Of course, Sean dealt with a lot this year following the death of his best friend, Johnny Gaudreau. Sean's also had a couple rough years here with some injuries as well before he came to Columbus. So congratulations to him. Colorado Avalanche forward Gabriel Landeskog and Minnesota Wild goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury are the others. He's the 3rd Blue Jacket to ever been named a finalist for the award. Nick Foligno in 2018-19, and then Kevin Dineen was named a finalist in both of the first 2 seasons for the Blue Jackets.
Number 2 for me, file this on their headline of things that just are going to be great again. This is awful announcing having this. NBC, who will have the NBA rights starting next year, are bringing back the player intros to the broadcast. So you will get 6'6" from North Carolina or from Akron St. Vincent St. Mary High School. All of that. That's money. They're going to have to cut out those long videos that the teams do before they announce their teams, and that's fine. Those are kind of played out anyway. I'm all for player introductions coming back to the NBA. Good job out of NBC.
It's likely going to be the last Saturday Spectacular that Tyvis Powell and I do. That'll be tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm going to ask him about a tweet he sent out yesterday, and I'm just going to read the tweet.
Oh, I saw this.
First off, I want to start this tweet by saying I have the utmost respect for baseball players and everything they do. It takes a ton of skill to be able to play at the highest level. With that being said, I 100% can successfully steal from first to second without being caught today. Friend of the program, Tim May, chimes in at 250. Tyvis Powell, yes, sir. No friggin' chance. And this comes off the heels. Jose Ramirez stole in extra innings. He went from first to second. Jose Ramirez, elite baseball player in his 30s. Tyvis Powell, not so elite football player in his 30s.
Yeah, no.
End of an era tomorrow, Reese. There's been a couple times on Three Things where I have come in here and talked about my disdain for people that are stopping in the middle of the road while trying to get on the freeway. Well, ladies and gentlemen, ODOT posted a video this week of somebody, so I'll give you a visualization. It was 71 South, so you're going south from the fairgrounds. You can get off onto 670 to the right. There is a van. There are 3 lanes, right?
It's crazy.
2 of them go straight, 1 goes straight or to the lanes you need to go to 670. A van stops in the middle lane. The middle lane stops because they need to get on 670. 2 cars come up behind it, also vans. They stop. A third van comes and plows the next 2 vans. And I can't tell or not if the first van was hit by the fourth van or not as it spun around and came. The first van just takes off and gets on 670 and goes away. Gosh, I hope someone got their license plate and they get ticketed in this.
Like got their license plate in their car or like caught
Just
the number for it?
Picture, whatever.
That's jail forever.
Come on,
it's
people.
Lucasville. You go straight to Lucasville for that. Here's the thing I would tell to folks in those scenarios. Just hit the next exit.
It's not worth dying or killing someone, folks.
Just hit the next exit, man. Like there's another one coming. Snake back around. There's nothing that important. That was outrageous. That blew my mind. Finally, number 3 for me. So I mentioned that I've been watching that show on Max Warrior. So I got a buddy of mine who we always watch similar type of shows. And I've decided, I texted him this morning. I said, have you seen Warrior? No was the answer. So I told him about it. He's like, I'm starting it right now. The joy of recommending a show that you know is good to someone who you know will like it. There's a lot of fun in that.
Can confirm. Final thing for me, Phil Simms said on FanDuel TV that if Abdul Carter asked, he'd give him number 11.
Last one for me. Don't go anywhere. Rothman and Ice coming up next. I'll have Jensen Lewis today. A little chin music.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We're back Monday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Here's a quick 10-second reminder that the Buckeyes have won the Natty. Also, we air all the games, and we always will. Thank you. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
When you're starting a home improvement project, a few big questions always come up. Who can I trust? Will they be there if something goes wrong? And lastly, how much is this going to cost me? At Newman Roofing, we've been answering those questions for over 30 years. As a family-owned and operated company that takes pride in every aspect of the job, with family members involved in each department of the company, we treat your home like it's our own. That means clear communication, no shortcuts, and a white glove experience from start to finish. And when it comes to cost, we get it. That's why we offer flexible financing options so you can get the quality your home needs at a price that works for your budget. Don't just take our word for it. With over 700 5-star reviews on Google, families across Central Ohio are sharing their Newman Roofing experience. For roofing, siding, and gutter solutions built around family, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious blueberries, money saved. A creamy treat of cookie dough ice cream, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also 10 points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, I think I saw a fox on my way in.
Oh, that was the Carfax Carfox. He was congratulating us on our Carfax Top-Rated Service Center Award.
I have always rated Tire Discounters at the very top.
Oh, thanks. So does Carfax. And not just for tires, but for all our services, too.
Alignment, brakes, shocks, and struts, and more.
Yes, sir.
But, Mike, do you think people believe Carfax over me?
Well, you are the Phantom tire buyer.
Exactly.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay minus 108 than minus 110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is Ohio's full-time reduced juice sportsbook. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We've discovered the perfect morning ritual, the 2 for $6 breakfast sandwich deal at Tim Hortons. Every sandwich is made to order with a freshly cracked egg and melty cheese, just the way breakfast should be. Choose between savory sausage or hickory smoked bacon, served on a toasted English muffin or flaky biscuit. There's no wrong way to mix and match this tasty deal. 2 breakfast sandwiches, just $6. Perfect. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, single item at regular menu price. Modifications and tax extra. Exclusions and additional terms apply.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ. That's JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.